time to chat and speak the truth. We will talk with DJs, producers, artists, and dance groups. Our Latino contributions to the scene is strong. With Stephanie Pablo and DJ QMM, you can't go wrong.
Hey, House Nation, don't count us out. It took all of Chicago to evolve the sound. Bum, 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 bum. We are Latinos in the house. We are Latinos in the house. We are Latinos in the house. Don't count us out.
It's time to chat and speak the truth. We will talk with DJs, producers, artists, and dance groups. Our Latino contributions to the scene is strong. With Stephanie Pablo and DJ QMM, you can't go wrong.
Hey, House Nation, don't count us out. It took all of Chicago to evolve the sound. Bum, 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 bum. We are Latinos in the house. We are Latinos in the house. We are Latinos in the house. Don't count us out.
It's time to chat and speak the truth. We will talk with DJs, producers, artists, and dance groups. Our Latino contributions to the scene is strong. With Stephanie Pablo and DJ QMM, you can't go wrong.
Hey, House Nation, don't count us out. It took all of Chicago to evolve the sound. Bum, 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 bum. We are Latinos in the house. We are Latinos in the house. We are Latinos in the house. Don't count us out.
It's time to chat and speak the truth. We will talk with DJs, producers, artists, and dance groups. Our Latino contributions to the scene is strong. With Stephanie Pablo and DJ QMM, you can't go wrong.
Hey, House Nation, don't count us out. It took all of Chicago to evolve the sound. Bum, 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 bum. We are Latinos in the house. We are Latinos in the house. We are Latinos in the house. Don't count us out.
It's time to chat and speak the truth. We will talk with DJs, producers, artists, and dance groups. Our Latino contributions to the scene is strong. With Stephanie Pablo and DJ QMM, you can't go wrong.
Hey, House Nation, don't count us out. It took all of Chicago to evolve the sound. Bum, 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 bum. We are Latinos in the house. We are Latinos
Okay. Oh, there's your one.
There you go.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Don't Count Us Out podcast, session 35.
35. Wow, this is
I
our
know.
35th anniversary.
Yeah, it is our 35th anniversary. Can you wait till I can't wait till we get to 100.
Yeah.
We'll celebrate like all the novelas and everything out there. What is up, everybody? I'm Stephanie Chach. To my right is Pablo Punkout Gonzalez. And our special guest today is Charlie CHAZ D. Woohoo! All right. Before we get started with Charlie, because he's got a lot of history, lots and lots of history. He's been everywhere.
We're going
He's
to need more than one
he's
show
Mr.
for his history.
You know, I could technically say he's like, Chicago worldwide.
Okay.
Because he's been everywhere. North side, south side, east side.
Yes, he has, yeah.
I don't know about the west side, but, I'm sure if you consider like 26th Street, that's west side.
Southwest, maybe?
Southwest. Either way, how was your weekend?
It's great. Tried out this one restaurant that we heard a lot of hype about.
Pequod's. I'll say it.
Yeah, Pequod's. It's all right.
It's all right, right?
Yeah,
it's like
I think they're
overrated.
Overrated, yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of places that are overrated.
For me, it had too much sauce on it, and then the crust was a little like rubbery. Yeah, it was weird, but it was all right. Not bad. It's okay.
okay.
It was okay.
And it's not on my bucket list, so there you go. And then what else? You had a private party.
I had a private.
Well, I can't wait for you to tell everybody.
I had a private party on Saturday, and yes, I was playing like stuff like La Chona. Did I pronounce that right? And all kinds of Spanish music. It was fun. The people were, of course, dancing, reacting to it. Mm-hmm. So that was pretty cool. So
Mikey is not a part of our show right now.
So I can play more than just Bizarre Triangle.
I'm sure people were in shock. What?
Yeah, so it was fun. A lot of fun.
All right. You want to ask me now? Or this is how usually it works.
Oh yeah, sure. By the way, you always go first. But what did you do this weekend?
Well, what did I do? I did nothing Friday, but Mike was over at Zoo Bar and had a huge college turnout over there.
Oh, nice. What college was celebrating?
I don't know. Was everybody? Oh, that's Charlie. Which college? I don't know. Probably just a bunch of college kids. So they were enjoying
A random
themselves.
college party.
It wasn't college. I mean, it was a birthday party.
Oh, it was a birthday party. There you go. A bunch of college kids look like.
Okay.
But either way, he had that going on Friday. I stood home like a good girl. And then Saturday we did Beto B-Boy's birthday.
Oh, that's right.
Yes, he turned 55, so happy birthday, sir, to you. And then also, what else did we do earlier that day? I don't even remember. I can't.
Car show.
Oh, yes, the car show, Sam's car show with Mickey Mix and Oliver. That was fun.
Oh, AOC?
We got there real late. Yeah.
Had a car show? Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
we got there
Heard about
pretty
that.
late because I had a graduation party to go to.
And where was that at?
That was over in Hickory Hills, right by the
okay.
old Tequila Muchos. Now it's called Mingo's Oyster and Tequila Bar.
Okay.
Yeah, oysters and tequila. I don't know about the mixture, but okay. So yeah,
Okay.
kind of like one of those.
Sure.
But yeah, so that that was going on, and then Sunday we were trying to head over to the Crash on Saturday night. I was just too exhausted.
Oh, there was
for Myra and Hyro because they had the after party for the Me Kermies, right after party.
Okay.
Because that was this Friday and Saturday. So congratulations over to DMC and Underground Elements for you guys.
Oh, the Cicero. Yes,
Yes,
right. That
the
was,
Cicero Fest
looked
over
good.
there. So that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Saw a lot of video footage and stuff like that.
Oh, I like that when Gene Hunt was playing, he had some dancer.
Yeah, that
Like,
was
he
so
looked like,
cool.
like a
a
Mortal
little
Kombat
fan
figure.
dance, yeah.
Yeah,
I was like,
that's
pretty
cool.
cool. I was like, go ahead, Gene. And it was Gene's birthday, this past, couple of weeks ago. So happy birthday to him. But I want to get into, before we get into this interview, I want to get into the Chosen Few, which was the largest festival, as you know, in
Always.
Chicago. Always the largest festival. I missed it again, second year in a row, thanks to my hip, but that's all right. I'll be in full force next year. Barbara Tucker was there. I've always thought she's been really cool with the whole. I think she's a great queen of house as well, old school. But apparently, Jazzy Jeff was there, and he was the guest DJ, which I thought I would have loved to have caught him because I caught him when he was doing DJing on the COVID side, and being online. But apparently, there was a lot of people who just quite didn't understand why he was there and didn't play house.
Why he was there.
So if you could find a way to tag Alan King to this, I want to make sure he sees this. Do at Alan King, I'm sure he'll pop up. So Alan King put out there, there was Wayne Williams who put out his little spew of what he felt. Quite a few people had comments to make about why Jazzy Jeff.
Are these members of the chosen few? Who are these people you're talking about?
So people, just comments, just people who were participants at the, at the chosen few.
Okay.
Now I saw quite a few videos that pretty much was the whole mix of what Jazzy Jeff did, and I enjoyed it. I think. What was put out there was correct. It was a great change of pace. Some people called it karaoke. I just say it's great music that you sing along to.
Yeah, well, hello. What's wrong with that?
If anybody ever remembers, before when mixes were on the radio and were on GCI and V103 and all that, you have to incorporate R&B and soul. So I don't know why people thought he didn't understand the assignment. I get that it's it's called the Chosen Few Picnic. It's not called the Chosen Few House Picnic.
Right. There you go.
It's called the Chosen Few Picnic.
Right.
And I have seen quite a few DJs that have been up there who have repeated house tracks. Not to mention the songs that he played. Some of you have remixed into house music. So if there wasn't an original track, you wouldn't have had that to remix. But the other side of that is that, so what?
Yeah.
I don't think, I've never seen a festival that sits there and says you only have to play this. I've seen clubs say that, but I've seen the Chosen Few Picnic and a lot of people who will play things gospel-wise and everything else. So, kudos to you, Chosen Few.
It's okay to play gospel but not R&B?
I don't see why. I don't understand it. I mean, it was because it didn't have a house beat to it. I mean, you still can dance to it.
Yeah.
I can still dance to Poison from Belle Biv DeVoe.
Yeah.
I can still dance to New Edition.
Robbie, Ricky.
I can still dance to the Clark Sisters.
Okay.
So I don't understand what the problem was.
But the problem is,
But if you can't appreciate all kinds of music, because that's what we all grew up with. Before there was a GCI, a JPC, a CYC, BMX, we were listening to WLS, The Loop, and any other stations that were out there that was able to play a couple of R&B songs or pop songs. So it's what we grew up with. Stop acting like you don't know these songs. You sang along, and I bet you did, and you just had something to write about because you needed something to bitch about. So,
Ouch.
At the end of the day, if you don't like all kinds of music, then don't go to festivals. Because I can go to Westfest sometimes, and there's music that I don't know and I don't like.
Yeah.
But my choice is to go to another bar and get a beer until the DJ that I like comes on.
there you go.
So that's my soapbox for today.
Preach
Alan,
it, girl. Preach it.
Tony, Andre, Wayne, Terry, you guys did a phenomenal job. I'm sorry I missed it this year. I will definitely be there next year. But thank you for always giving us different artists to listen to, different generations, and also congratulations, Alan King, to your daughter and to Terry's son, who also DJ'd. You just showed your legacy through that next generation of
nice.
DJs. So congratulations and kudos to you, man. I can't wait to see what you guys get next year. And to the haters who just don't like music, don't go. That's my soapbox. And that's what I'm sticking to. So,
En otras noticias.
in other news today, we have Charlie CHAZ in the house.
Hello, welcome. Welcome to our show.
Welcome, man.
Thank you.
We've been looking forward to this. As you can see, Charlie's very shy. He just wants to get straight to the interview, to the cusp of things. So
No, initially when you guys introduced yourselves, you were asking each other, what did you do this past weekend?
well, what did you do?
And for myself, we had the grandkids over this weekend, which is always, that's amazing. To be blessed with grandkids is just something that, had you known this, it was going to be like this earlier in life, you really known you had something to look forward to that's just amazing.
Yeah.
So anytime you get to spend with them, you get to see the next generation, the legacy that you're going to leave behind. And it's just amazing. It's an amazing experience.
It gives you like a different perspective, like some things that you'd probably like. Well, for me, when I have my grandkids over, I have a little bit more heart for them than I did with my own kids because I wasn't stressing. I don't stress when they have grandkids. I'm not stressing how am I going to pay the bills, how am I going to get their next outfit and stuff. I just get to enjoy and spend money and not even care.
Right. Yeah,
So-
when you were raising your own kids, you were so busy working, just to keep food on the table and, and pay the bills. That I mean, there wasn't as much time as you have now, and you realize, the value of that time when they're young, and you're able to, really enjoy it more now and appreciate it.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I love that. I have my grandkids. I talk about them once in a while. But I'm glad you get to enjoy that because it's important. It's a part of your life, And,
Right.
they're outside of the aches and pains that our parents didn't tell us about. That's the one thing I think that we kind of missed out on is when they see the grandkids. And now we can see in our own grandparents' eyes why their eyes would light up in stars and the grandbabies are over.
Yeah.
So do any of your grandkids live with you or are they all?
No. They live with their parents.
Okay,
So
that's cool.
They're all in Indiana. So we see them, when we go out there or they come over to visit us.
Nice.
But it's still beautiful. I mean, they're different ages. The oldest one is 10. The youngest one is barely about 2 months old, maybe. So you got a wide gap there. But they're all unique, and you see characteristics of yourself, your wife, your kids, and your grandkids.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just amazing because you now have an influence on that generation. And it's special, I mean, you it's just amazing.
Any future DJs in them?
We have one that has an amazing voice. She's 8 years old. She's gonna be 9, and I'll catch her all the time. Like if I was playing a mix, and while I was driving the other day, and she's in the back seat, and I think it was might have been CHAZ Away the track, and she picks up on the chorus, and then you'll hear her singing the chorus in the back seat. And so she's paying attention.
I think it's cool. A 9-year-old singing She Has a Way.
Yeah. So I talked to Dajay about her one time, and she said, Charlie, get her into like church, get her to sing it in the choir. I'm like, this girl can hit any note. And so she has an amazing talent.
Oh my God. We're going to be talking about Dajay later because you got some things going on that are brewing in October.
Yes.
And I can't wait to we talk about that. So Charlie, now that you're here, I am so excited because I have seen you since I was a teenager. You're one of the DJs that I can say I truly remember growing up. And not to mention, the people that you had surrounded yourself with. And then even the history on the north side with your DJ battles, working with Tony Batoy as well. So let's start from the beginning. Like, what year or how old were you when you started DJing?
I had to be about 12 or 13 years old. So my older brother, Mike, he was at Mixed Productions. He got together with Paul Barreta and Wilson Vega, and they bought equipment, and they brought it over to our house. I was like 7th or 8th grade, and the first thing they tell you is don't touch it. I'm like, okay. Well, there's a basketball court, and he had a hoop in the alley, so they would go out and shoot ball. As soon as every chance they went outside, I had a chance to get on the equipment, I would practice and practice and practice. And then it got to the point where they're like, what, your little brother's pretty good. And Wilson Vega says, you know what, you need to change your name up. Charlie's cool, but why don't you add CHAZ? CHAZ is a cool name. And I go, how are you gonna put that? He goes, just add Charlie CHAZ D. Don't worry. I'm like, man, that's a different name. So we stuck with it, and then they go, why don't you get in a battle? And again, some of these guys, there's a battle coming up. They were looking for DJs for a battle at St. Basil's. They were put together by Chicago's Magic Sounds. So I'm like, all right, I'm 13 years old. I take 2 turntables and I mix it to the battle. And at that time, I set up 2 turntables on the right side so you can scratch and do tricks with your right hand. And we're battling against guys who are in college, and seniors in high school. And I'm like 8th grade, freshman year, whatever. And I got second place in the battle. But and Quick Mix Claw got first place. He was really good. But what came out of the battle was I got to meet the guys from Magic Sounds. And then they're like, you're a bad motherfucker. Why don't you hook up with us? And I was like, wow, I had seen some of their flyers, and I knew they were doing things. I was like, that's really going to be a step up.
So what DJs were with Magic Sounds?
Rick Torres, Carlos Beltran, Jesse Carrillo, Mario Beltran, David Chacon. So I was talking with my buddy Peter earlier, and I was saying, what, Carlos Beltran kind of had a vision like Tony Batoy. He pulled in Rick Torres, because Carlos was from 26th Street, and he hooks up with Rick Torres, who was going to Curie High School, and he was living in back of the yards. Then he hooks up with David Chacon, who's living in Pilsen. So, so you start different Latino parts of the city. You start pulling in guys that are going to, bring you followers. And we were in the Gage Park area, so I hooked up with them. And then later on, my friend Richie Robolino hooked up with them. And before you know it, we're at the Grand Manor, we're at the Western Ballroom, we're at the American Legion, we're at Daytimes, we're at Quinceañeras, all over the place. It was just crazy, the exposure that we got with Magic Sounds. So that's how it all started, from my older brother in Mixed Productions to Magic Sounds, and then with Magic Sounds it took off. Because at that time, Magic Sounds was above and beyond what anybody else was doing on the South Side.
Yeah, I remember Rick Torres because he lived, like you said, he lived in back of the yards. He lived on 45th and Justine. And I
Yes.
remember watching him practice every single day in his enclosed porch in the apartment building that they owned. And it was him and, Raul. I can't remember his last name. I can't believe I'm about to go blank. My brother's going to kill me. And they would practice like crazy. So, and then...
I mean, well, Rick was... they were lining up so much equipment. So Rick was... They had Serwin Vega bass bottoms like there was no tomorrow. And he had built a ramp to go in his basement. So they would do multiple, events on the same night, and then they'd be bringing the Serwin Vegas back, rolling them in the basement. He would design his own flight cases. So, the way they tuck point lowrider back seats? He was tuck pointing the flight cases. And then he would have that clear plexiglass on the lid. And so then the lid, he would have Magic Sounds airbrushed on the lids. You sit the lid at the front of the equipment with the lights going behind it. It was constant promotion. You're just like, man, these guys are just... It was incredible, what they were doing, which was so far ahead of their time. So when you see them bringing in, like at Magic Sounds, they had Ralphie Rosario. I mean, they had a line around the block, you know what I mean, to get in that place, sold out, and you're just like, you get an opportunity to spin at those events at that age, it's like being a rock star.
What year do you remember that starting at for you?
Anywhere from 80 up. So 80 was probably on my own with, my brothers and stuff, and then moving in with Rich. And Magic Sounds probably came in 82, somewhere in that window. But
Well, I remember coming down when I first discovered Little Village existed.
Pull the mic closer to you.
Was in 1985. I'm not trying to breathe close to it. But yeah, I remember in 85 seeing the Magic Sounds flyers all over the place. Them and along with, I think, Fusion. It was because I didn't know no one from the South Side.
Yeah.
So that's how I got to see, like, all these different names, like he's mentioning. And even Carlos Beltran, I remember him. He represented Magic Sounds at a battle I had in Aragon, and they were up ballroom in '86.
Well, I know between Carlos and Satch, because Satch was his brother, and he was a Windy City DTR breaker.
The DTR.
He'll kill me for saying that too. I'm sorry, it was Raul Gonzalez, by the way, and then Satch is going to kill me too. So, what's wrong with you, girl? I need Prevagen right now. Prevagen, we need to have them as a sponsor. Yeah, I remember that. And like I said, I remember a lot of DJs. Like, I don't really remember you.
Whatever.
I know, I'm sorry. But I do remember CHAZ.
Yeah.
And it's one of the names that I that always is highly next to Rick Torres and a few others. So you're with Magic Sounds. How long are you with Magic Sounds? Because then you started a trio, or you and
Right.
two others.
That might have been about a year or so, because it's like anything else, you watch what they're doing and you're learning. And they were a little bit older than us. We were early in high school, and those guys were probably almost seniors already. So, you watch what they're doing. You see how they're pulling the crowd, but you also have a younger generation coming up. So I broke off with Rich, and we started the Quick Mix 3, and that caused static with us and Magic Sounds, But we were going to do our own thing. And I don't know how we got hooked up with Sacred Heart Teen Club over in the back of the yards. But that's where we started doing our first events. And those things were packed, It's just like, so you knew you were onto something. And so that continued to grow. It's like the passion that you had for that music at that time. It was the match that lit the fire. Because even now, what are we talking, 30, 40 years later, people still only want to hear that music. There's remixes and there's new stuff that they throw in there as well, but there's a strong following in that music. And it's crossed over from our generation to our kids, Now the grandkids are hearing it, so I don't know how long it's going to last, but it's amazing where it came from and how far it's gone.
So it was for the Quick Mix 3, it was Rich Rabolino, rest in peace, Javier LeBron, and yourself.
Yes.
So that's how I remember you. And funny, as funny as it is, you and your Coca-Cola shirts. That's how I really remember you. Your straight leg jeans and your Coca-Cola shirts.
Somebody's mentioning Felix Carranza in the group chat, and that was a huge influence. You go back to when it all started. At 12, 13 years old, they're taking me around to see Felix Carranza playing at a festival, maybe in Little Village. They're taking me to see Mario Reyes. They took me to see Jesse Velez, rest in peace. He was spinning at a place called Mars Bar downtown. And this is something that, you continue to pick up that influence, and you're watching how they work the crowd and how the dance floor is responding, to the music they're playing. And it's it's what you knew you wanted to do. You know, it was in your blood, and you went home and you practiced and you picked up some of the same tracks and you developed your own style. But those guys were the influences at that time.
What was the first record do you remember that you put on the turntable when you played?
That's hard to say. There's a lot of good ones. Things that you don't hear anymore. You know, from Narado, Michael Walden, Reach Out. There's one out, Columbus Circle, If You Read My Mind. That's an amazing track. Somebody needs to remake that. It's a really good track, really good track. But you look at the vocals from the music we grew up in. Those are clean vocals. They're good vocals. They're wholesome. You can play them around your kids and your grandkids. You know, it's like not like the ghetto hip hop you hear these kids listening to in the cars and they're bumping that stuff. You're like, I don't know how anybody. I mean, the beats are cool, but you're degrading, you know, women. You know,
yeah.
and you're setting a tone for these kids that life is just hopeless. You know what I mean? It's just quick. You're here and you're gone, and that's not what life's all about.
I totally understand it. Now, you're with the Quick Mix 3, Rich, you, and Hav. How long was that? Because you guys were at a lot halls and just all around, everywhere, high school parties.
Yeah, there's so much to talk about. I mean, think about being in Magic Sounds, and I was going to Bogan High School, and then you get a call, and they're telling you, hey, we've got an event today that we're DJing for Richards High School. Richards High School was all girls. Yeah. And they're like, CHAZ, you want to come spin? I'm like, hell yeah, I want to come spin. So, you know, you jump on the bus, you go home, you get your small crate of records, you show up at Richards High School, the party's in the gym. It's like 500 girls in the gym. The only guys are the DJs. I mean, it's like being the Beatles in a concert. You're like, holy cow, this is crazy.
I get my choice of a woman.
What's up, Mario Reyes? Mario Reyes is in the chat.
Hey, Mario, how are you? Hopefully you're doing well. I know he just had eye surgery, so we hope you're getting better soon. Peter Aprecio's in the box right now. Yvonne, Sue Vargas, we hope you feel better. Thank you for joining us. Elva's in the box. Dan Martinez, Rich Huerta, Giovanni De La Mora's on here. Who else are we looking for? I know there's a bunch of people in here.
Sue.
I just said Sue Vargas.
Okay.
I just said I hope she feels better. Okay. So in case you guys don't know, we're talking to Charlie CHAZ D here. We're going through some history. So tell us a couple of stories about back in the day in your DJing.
Oh, there's a ton of those stories.
Well, pick a few.
I'll give you one, Charlie. I remember when I first saw this guy play, it was at the Aragon Ballroom. He was...
for Tony Batoy?
Yeah, skinny guy. Tall, skinny guy. And, you know, this is Northside Lawrence.
He's still skinny.
I'm like, and I think Farley was introducing you.
Yes.
Anyway, Charlie came out, and when you mentioned the Coca-Cola shirt, you're right. I think he had like a red...
he always had a red and white Coca-Cola shirt.
He had like a red... what do you call those shirts? They're like this.
The crew neck?
No, it was like, you know, those kind of shirts where you can show your arms around.
Oh, the Dago tee.
Yeah, I didn't want to say that. and then he had a glove. You had a glove on.
Maybe.
Right? You had a glove on, and then, anyways, he was doing. He put on a good performance that day, and he was doing scratching and all that. That's the first time I heard him.
So what happened?
86 already. Yeah. 86,
so what happened with the Aragon? See, all this goes back to Prano Printing. Yeah. That was the internet of our time.
That's the network right
there.
there.
That was the network right there.
So you had to go to Prano Printing to make your flyers, and that's how you met the other promoters, the other DJs, and found out, you know, what was going on, who was doing what. And it's all about, you know, how many events are you spinning at, you know, and how many people are you pulling in, how many followers. I mean, this was the internet of our time. So I guess from Tony Batoy having two people who were really connected to him, Sly Hula Hula Fox and Larry Amazing Thompson, well, Sly, rest in peace, working at Prano Printing at that time, they saw who's constantly hitting the flyers, who's constantly on the posters. So Tony gave me the shot to be at the Aragon, you know, to represent the South Side. Mm-hmm. And when I go up there to spin, Farley was spinning before me. So Farley's got, and that's 5,000 people. That thing was sold out. It's packed. And so Farley, his last track is Native Love. He's about to, you know, lower the volume. No, don't shut that off. You know, you got everybody going. So I was so skinny, I could, you know, get a double for Native Love and put on the right turntable, stand in front of the equipment so you're facing all 5,000 people, and be able to still grab the fader and still grab the vinyl and do your scratch patterns while everybody's watching you. And so people are watching something they hadn't seen before. But that, I mean, come on, I'm not that skinny like I was back then. But, you know, I mean.
And he had more hair.
Yeah.
A little more puffy hair.
Yeah. But you know what? That was an experience. So it's like anything else. You're a hired gun. Mm-hmm. You're hired to come in and rock that place. And you've got one shot at it. And because Tony Batoy, he was a good businessman. So he wants to see somebody who's going to put on a show and who's going to get that crowd going. And if so, you'll be invited back. If not, he's not going to call you no more. So you throw down as best you can, keep, rock that place, and before you know it, then they're asking you to spin at a Riviera. They're asking you to spin at a Navy Pier. They're asking you to spin somewhere in the suburbs. So you're meeting people who now everybody knows who they are, but back then nobody knew who they were. So we're spinning at a sold-out Tony Batoy event in the suburbs. There's a skinny güero standing on the side with his milk crate of records and headphones. He wants to spin so bad. Nobody knows this guy. Tony's not going to let him on. We don't know who he is. That's Bad Boy Bill. Okay? But he can't get on the equipment. He can spin because nobody knows who he is. We didn't know his skills. We didn't know who he was going to be. We just knew that Tony had a lineup, and that's what he stuck with, and that was it. I mean, after that party, we're going to the park. So many things happen. Gangbangers start fighting inside. It goes outside. Some guy goes to a car and grabs, them old car jacks. He grabs a car jack to come back, and he hits the other guy in the mouth. Teeth go flying.
Oh, my God.
You're like, holy cow. Then if you like gunshots ringing out, then poof.
All dispersed.
I go to DJ for David Chacon in, that's Pilsen, right off of 18th and Damon, block party. Packed, everybody having a good time. And here you go, you start throwing down, you're rocking the block party, and boom, 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 block party's over. Happened like that so many times. But you never thought that you were in danger. I don't know what it was about being young, you thought you were bulletproof. You would go spin at a house party. So even if you spin at a hall party, there's always house parties going on afterwards. So we're going to a house party in back of the yards on the east side of Ashland, probably by 43rd, 44th. And when we come to the door with the crate of records, the guy put the shotgun to our head.
Oh, my God.
He don't know who we are. The Saints are on the other side of Ashland.
Right.
So they're probably worried about that. And you're like, man, come on, dude. We're not banging. We just came here to DJ. And they're like, yeah, no, let him in. That's CHAZ. Boom, you go inside the house party and you throw down. Same thing. You weren't worried about anything happening to you, and you could not be affiliated with nothing like that because you're going in all these different neighborhoods.
Yeah.
And you gotta stay neutral. You can't. I mean, yeah, you end up having some friends that maybe that's who they run with, but you know what? That's not you.
It's funny that you say that because a lot of guests that we've had on here have all said that their lives were saved because they were a DJ to stay away from the gangs. But the other part was the protection that they had when they knew they can go in. Oh, you're the DJ. Oh, let me escort you in to make sure you get in okay. And hey, that's the DJ. Don't touch him. Don't hurt him and everything else. So would you say that was part of your life of DJ saved you from being a part of that life?
No, I don't think I ever would have been a part of that life. Because growing up where we grew up in the Gage Park area, it's transition. Now it's all Latinos. Back then it was all güeros. We were like one of the only Latino families. But it's like us, the Rabelinos, Richie, the Ajovos. Peter Aparicio was on the corner of the block. A handful. You could count them on one hand how many Latino families. So there really weren't bangers in that neighborhood. So that was a good thing to be able to grow up without that. You saw it at school, but it wasn't in your neighborhood. So when music came in, and it came in early, that was your outlet. That's what you really threw yourself into, and that's what you thrived at. And that was your passion. And then it probably will always be a part of you.
So you're in the South Side, going to Pronto Printers, printing your flyers, your posters, and everything else. You get this opportunity with Tony Batoy and the Aragon. Tell me what that experience was with Tony Batoy, because we all know we've all had experiences with Tony Batoy in regards to either his parties, either being a guest or DJ or any to that thing. But that time and era with the Rainbow and the Riv was huge for a teenager.
That Rainbow could hold about 4,000 people. On a weekly basis. And Tony Batoy being a business person first, he's always about the numbers. He's not going to put you on because he likes you or because he's your friend. It has to be because you're pulling him people. You're somebody he can market. So that's what I say when people always say, oh, this guy was a big DJ back in the day, or this guy was, but no. Go to the promoters. The promoters, that would be Tony, Charlie from Party People, Pinky from All Stars, who was involved with the Navy Piers, and then you've got maybe Ziggy with Audio One, he came a little bit later, and then Al with Janelle's. Okay, so those are the biggest promoters from that time, and they can tell you, without a doubt. Go back to the flyers and the posters, because at some point we're not going to be talking about this anymore. Oh, God.
He started.
Man. It's going to be only what's left behind, and what's left behind is going to be, hopefully, the flyers, the posters, and that's what's going to speak for themselves. So Tony being the business person that he was, chose the person who stood out the most as far as this guy's on all the flyers. This guy's on all over. I was spinning in South Chicago with Boogeyman at the Union Halls. Peter John was doing Union.
Yeah,
South
Peter
Chicago.
John. Peter John
Okay,
Productions.
Right. And so then on the South Side, Mixed Productions at Dancing Wheels. Magic Sound still doing guest shots with them. And then on the North Side, there were big events at the Centrum. You know what I mean? So, with the suburbs, you had Big Z doing another big promoter at the time. So you're hitting all these spots. In Waukegan, they had, Alan Babbitt's Boyd. He's doing events out there. So you're hitting, not only in Chicago, you're hitting South Side, North Side, suburbs, South Chicago. I was spinning at basement parties on the East Side. You know what I mean? Yeah.
In case anybody doesn't know, East Side is like South Chicago, East what?
No. I'm
Side.
talking about with the Morenos on the East Side.
Oh, you're talking like South Shore?
Like 75th, 79th,
Yeah.
that also there, and I had no problem with it. You know what I mean? Because the same thing, the house music that was hitting on our side, maybe they were listening to a little bit deeper house, but they could appreciate somebody who was coming into their neighborhood, throwing down. 'Cause it was unique to them to see Latinos that come into the neighborhood and throw down, and they supported us. So here you are, you're hitting all the parts of Chicago. It was a natural fit, to go up to that level. So Quick Mix 3 was probably, like I said, like another year or so, and then when the opportunity came to move up to Tony's Supreme team, that was a bigger stage. You know what I mean? So now Tony's buying more radio advertising than anybody's ever bought on B96. So Saturday nights when you'd hear the DJ spinning on B96, Tony would have airtime commercials.
Yeah,
Tony
he paid
Vittori
for them. Yeah,
so
he
every
paid for that.
Saturday night you're being promoted. Supreme DJ team, Sly Hula Hula Fox, Larry Amazing Thompson, Ween Paez, Charlie CHAZ D, and that reaches millions of people in the Chicago area. So I don't know anybody else who's ever bought commercials like that. Nobody really has. And radio's not what it was, but back then it was everything. So.
Well, I think next to Tony, probably whoever was right. Well, B96 was always at the Phoenix nightclub. They were always at Eric's North. They would do a stint over at Eric's South once in a while, and then I can't really think of anything off the top of my head, but those are the two that stand out. And it was always the Riv, or the Rainbow, or Eric's North.
Rainbow for sure because it was under 21.
Yeah.
So
we got
to go.
We got to see artists who everybody knows now, but back then they were just coming out. So one Navy Pier where they had John Roca. He hasn't been back since. John Roca, TKA, Cover Girls or Sapphire. It's just like these were the biggest artists of their time. Same thing, wall to wall, front to back, sides. You cannot move, and it's just like that's an experience that the closest you come to it now is. Gino might have events at Joe's Live that pulls in like 1,000 or 1,200 people, but that's still a fraction of what we had growing up. And that crowd now is in their 40s, 50s. It's an older crowd. Back then, that was all of us in our teenage years. You know what I mean? Maybe you had somebody early 20s, but that's the crowd that that we grew up with. So those were the biggest venues. Being able to spin at the Riviera, the Aragon, the Navy Pier.
Even with now, like, and what we just spoke about. The Chosen Few has got 50,000 people, but that's from every genre, white, black, Asian, Hispanic, and every age group. From the teenagers now to those who are even in their 80s. There were some people who have been going there for years. They're 36 years old. So
what's up, Val?
They still have that huge group and viewership and following, and now Navy Pier is starting to get that again. That EDM concert that they had, I couldn't believe the EDM concert that they pulled through with I forgot what the DJ's name was, but the amount of people that were in there. You're right. We showed up and showed out at our age because we just wanted to hear the music. We wanted to go experience something different than outside of our neighborhoods. So
if you could experience anything like that, even for one night, think about did you go to the parties at the IHM?
Yes, because I was the Los and Las Hermanas.
Okay, so you had all the party crews there. and it would be packed front to back. And then you got the guys putting the girls up on their shoulders and they're holding up their jackets. So you got them funk boys, LTs, OCs, but I mean it's just boom, 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 and just like holy smokes.
The battles. I know you didn't really know that.
Yeah, this is all Southside talk.
Yeah,
So I'm just listening,
So,
learning. You know,
the Las and Los Hermanas will throw up their jackets, and then
Yep,
I was part of that.
yep.
I was part of Latin Taste, and obviously, like Hav said, now I turned funk.
Yeah.
But I mean, all those jackets would go up in the air. You're right, Charlie. All those jackets would go up in the air. All your crews would be representing, you know. And if you had dancers in those groups, they were battling while these DJs were you know, performing and stuff like that.
But
So
there were so many parts of it, from the party crews, and then you had the dance crews. You know, whether it was Destiny on the south side. I mean, you had a few of them on the south side and a bunch of them on the north side. Colitos, AKA, Imported Taste, Euro. I mean, so you got the dance crews. You got the party crews. You got the break dance crews. You know what I mean? It's just all melting together. You know what I mean? And it was just everybody found their niche. And that's what, you know, and you stuck with your crews from your neighborhood. You know, it was an amazing thing to see.
You'll never see that
DTR
again.
had some nice jackets. The ones with the dress jackets with the white and gray. Those are bad.
Yeah, they did.
You'll
They did
never
have some.
see that ever again. That was
No,
a magical
you won't,
time,
and
yeah.
it's sad because I think
All
at
over
the end of the
city.
day, for a lot of these kids, you know, I gotta admit they're right. There is nothing for them to do. No one wants to take a chance at throwing a house party because of the possible wreckage that could happen. We weren't about wreckage. We were about listening to the music
Dancing,
and dancing. And if there was a fight, well, then, you know, we didn't have to worry about guns being pulled out. It was usually your fists or, you know, maybe a knife.
It was usually over a girl, you know.
Well, that's because you guys were dummies back then. Right now we got Babalu's in the house. Edgar Duval's in the house. What's up, Edgar? He says, what's up, Charlie? Sue Vargas, she wants to make sure that Veronica gets her props. No, she sends her hellos.
Edgar used to run with the Crazy Crew breakdancers. So I grew up on the corner of 52nd and Campbell. And if you walked across the boulevard, now you're by the 51st and Damon area. That's where Gabriel, who was the head of their crew, had his garage, and they would be practicing. So it'd be Gabriel, Kango, Edgar, you know, and the rest of the crew. And you're watching these guys do these moves on their cardboard or linoleum in the garage. You're like, holy smokes! I mean, it was a skill. It was an amazing skill, and it created to the whole vibe that we were experiencing when we went out. You know, it was nuts.
What did you look for when you were DJing? What was the vibe that you wanted to feel? Like, were you nervous when you got on the decks?
No. You know, you practice so much at home that you really, it was nice even when you heard other DJs, because sometimes they would play tracks that you hadn't heard yet. Like I still remember when Laguerre Crashing Down came out, and they were playing it at a house party on 51st over there by Damon. I was like, what in the heck is that track? So you find out what it is because it packed the dance floor. And you're like, okay, somebody got a hold of something quick, something new, something imported. A lot of imports were coming in at that time. So you went from the domestics that people were playing, crossing over from disco into early house or old school, and then you had the Italo invasion, you know what I mean? Then you had 80s house starting up at that time, which was mostly local. It was just nuts, and it was all, you know, blending into each other, you know. And then high energy took over for a little while. It's like, man, you had so much to choose from in the music, and you weren't afraid to play it. Now it's like you go out and you hear, how many times do you hear Love and Music?
Yeah.
How many times do you hear some of the people stick with the same tracks? And back in the day, that was your job as a DJ. You know what I mean? If you know it's a hit, you know it's a jam because you have the ear for it. Play it. You know, mix it in between a couple tracks, you know, floor fillers that they're used to, and they'll hear it, and they hear it, and they hear it, and then another DJ, what's that track? And then they start playing, and it catches on. But right now, people are afraid to go away from the norm.
Why do you think that's so? Because it's always a controversial question, but it's always a viable question as to why can't we hear new music? God bless you. Why can't we hear new music? What do you think the problem is today versus back then? And the question goes to both of you, because both of you would drop new tracks for people to listen to.
I'm following a bunch of different guys right now on SoundCloud who are from overseas, and the house music they're playing will blow your mind. I mean, it's freaking amazing house music, but they won't play it here. It's really freaking amazing. And then they'll go and they'll remix some of the ones that we grew up with, and they do a good job remixing them because they're good. But why they won't play them right now? People don't want to. They don't want to take the chance. You know.
Do you think that the audience? Well, I'll let you answer that too, Pablo, because it went to both of you.
All right. What's the question?
The question was, why do you think the audience or the DJs are in hesitation of playing it, and what do you see the problem? Is it?
I think it's just the audience. They want to hear what they want to hear. So if they want to hear old school, that's how they're gonna want to hear. Now they want to hear something new. They know to go up north side. Probably that's what they're playing most of these new house tracks, these festivals. They're playing all this EDM, all this new house music he's talked about, from overseas.
But
they're not as scared to take a chance. Not saying that we're scared, because I'm part of that old school crew. You hire Pablo Paco Gonzalez, you know what you're going to get.
Right.
You're not going to get the newer stuff because that's not me.
Mm-hmm.
But there's plenty of other DJs that do that. Why those DJs don't get hired? Because what happens, a DJ will come, play a track that's new that he thinks is hot, the dance floor clears, right?
So do you think
And then the owner comes complaining, hey, don't play that shit. Go play this, go chorus here. That happens all the time.
So do you think our listening ear has now become narrow-minded to the point now that because everything that used to be on the radio, now we listen to XM radio, we have USBs that we can listen and control our own listening ear, that it doesn't allow for us to want to hear anything new?
We have so many options now, more than we had when we started.
Mm-hmm.
We were controlling the scene. What you heard where I was doing on the radio, what these guys were doing at the mobile events. Mm-hmm. And especially on the radio, you get to reach out to more of an audience. Mm-hmm. So, and speaking for myself, I can't speak for Charlie, but I would want to play that new track. I will play a song sometimes just once.
I know he played
And then
something
play
that
something
the
else.
next day an ex-boyfriend of mine went to go and get, and it was Tyree Cooper's track, and he played it at a party we were at. So it was because of him that I heard it, and I went to go get it.
In between Quick Mix 3 and Tony Batoy, I had gone up to Janelle's. There was a battle of the DJs that they had at Janelle's. So I had to have somebody drop me off with a crate because I didn't have a driver's license at that time. So I might have been like 15 or 16 years old. And I go to battle these guys on the north side, and they give you 30 minutes. In that 30 minutes, I must have played about 115 tracks. But they're not all, there's a lot of slams in there, you know what I mean? But you had to slam that stuff quick. Afterwards, I go meet with Al in his office, and I had won the battle. But my influence at Janelle's was Sly and Martino. Sly and Martino were playing cuts that they weren't playing on the South Side yet. Deputy of Love,
Yeah.
Stop, Wake Up, high energy cuts. And you're like, man, the crowd was jumping on the dance floor. I'm like, man, the South Side doesn't know what they're missing. So you start bringing that music back to the South Side. And what does it do? It starts the whole trend for the dance crews on the South Side. So now Destiny, Euro, all these people are battling.
Well,
on the
not
South
only
Side.
that, you had DJs mixing that music for those dance groups.
Yes,
that was
yes.
introducing a lot of that music too.
Yeah, we would make the battle mixtapes for the Colitos, for the AKAs, and same thing, it was all little snippets. So here you are looking at old disco records just to find 20, 30 seconds of some jungle beats with whistles and drums and boom. And you're putting them in their mixtapes, and everybody wanted to have the hottest beats. But that trend caught on the South Side, and that's another influence that we picked up. And it's the same thing. Had you only been playing what they were already playing on the South Side, which was Italo and old school and disco, it would have never came in. But because you brought it from the North Side, with the experience you had at Janelle's, now you got everybody playing Destiny
Right.
and all those tracks, and it just caught on.
Tell me about, so let's go a little forward. Now, we go from Quick Mix 3 into, because you did do the DJ battle at Janelle's, and then
One of many.
one of many, and then Rainbow. Where else did that take you? Here's some water. I had to go get water.
That Rainbow was a unique experience in itself, because when all these tracks were coming out, so say the Curtis McLean, the Mr. Lee, had a bunch of tracks coming out at that time. Pierre's Fantasy Club. So here you got these artists bringing promos up to the DJ booth at the Rainbow because they want you to play them in front of this crowd. I mean, that was an experience like. I wish they had. I know Tony's got some of this stuff on film. I keep asking him for it. So imagine on Halloween, you got 4,000 people packed in that Rainbow, and at that time that cut was out. Jason's watching.
Oh, yeah.
So they had a 30-foot high video screen that would hang from the ceiling at the Rainbow. So when you're bringing that track in, they cue up the movie from Friday the 13th, and you got this guy chasing the girl, and then you got that song. Jason's watching from the back. People are going nuts. It was insane. And when they would have their big concerts and bring in artists, they would set the DJ stage on the dance floor towards the back end. You know what I mean? So now you got a whole sea of people in front of you. And I mean, where else you gonna find that? You know, that was almost like Beat Street, the movie The Roxy, where they had the stage in the middle.
Oh, yeah.
It's real similar to that. So when we had the battle with New York versus Chicago, same thing. They had the
That was crazy.
stage on the floor. They ripped the doors off the side of the building to get in that place. You know, so you got Bill and Julian sitting up in the booth that we used to normally spin at, which is the glass booth on the second floor, and they're Bill cheering me. I don't know about Julian, but Bill was. And we were battling the three guys from New York. So, I mean, I don't know any other DJs that I know of from the South Side, from our era, that ever got a chance to battle, you know, big-name DJs like that from New York. They had African Bambaataa, they had Jazzy J, and then they had Cutmaster DC. We never heard of Cutmaster DC.
Didn't they have the Master J too, didn't they? I thought.
No, and that battle was Cutmaster DC. Cutmaster DC came out, he was scratching with a basketball, with a crutch, with his lips. You'd think of this guy, like, holy cow, this guy's on fire.
Well, I remember that B-Boy Ray and B-Boy B were talking about how a lot of New Yorkers came in because at the time they wanted to battle too with them, and that they were coming from New York and they were ready to throw down.
In that battle, the way we set up our battle was they did individual. So one DJ did for like 10 minutes, another DJ, and so what we did is we did a team battle. So we had 6 turntables going at the same time. Sly, Larry playing tracks, acapellas, you know, going, you know, layering it up, boom, 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 and then I had worked on a trick prior to that battle, which I tell Pumpin' P, I've never seen that trick, and you should get credit for it. So when you repeat a track, if you're facing the turntables to pull it back, you look at it as a clock, 12, 9, 6, 3. Normally you pull back from 12 to 9, 12 to 9, 12 to 9, boom, 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 boom. But on this one, I did the trick to where Sly and Larry stepped away, and we took Don't Stop the Rock. He started from the beginning, and at the 16, it comes in that. So I was able to pull it back, and then spin 360. Boom, pull it back, spin, boom, 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 and do it 20 times or whatever without missing, which is hard with vinyl because that stuff skips. Mm-hmm. So, at the end of the battle, they said Chicago won the battle. Then years later, Tony says, no, that was politics, you know what I mean, blah, 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 that Cutmaster shit. But whatever it was, you got 4,000 or 5,000 Chicago fans screaming for Chicago, and Chicago wins the battle. Mm-hmm. But same thing. It was an experience to battle other guys of that caliber. You know what I mean? And to get to see how they spin. And this is before now. Later, you have DJs doing where they go like this and they go like this. You know, it's a half turn. Okay, but show me a 360. I've seen Julian try to do it on CDJs, and that stuff skips all over the place. But it's okay. Not knocking the guy. But those are things that at that time, when you're in that groove and you're practicing every single day, like I watch some of these DJs on Instagram, DJ Pearly. Who's that other weirdo with the red hair? Scratch Bastard? That guy. Oh, that guy's incredible. And they practice their routines over and over. They got a DJ RG3. You seen that guy? So Latino, he just graduated from high school. Holy smokes! But that's the thing: practice. And now they got technology helping them. So with Serato, it never skips. You know what I mean? With Sync, they don't have to touch a pitch control. It's all whatever they throw in is automatically on beat. Mm-hmm. And I mean, it's not the same. When we grew up, you had to do all of that by ear, and that's a whole different level of skill. Not knocking these guys who are doing it now.
Do you think that's part of what's missing in the DJ craft? I mean, I know that, you know, technology can do everything, but it's technology. It's not really starting from that beginning where it teaches you how to use your ear as opposed to let me figure it out on the computer and match the beats, 126 to 126 BPMs. So I look at that. Oh yeah, I know. I'm talking DJ talk now.
She's learning.
Yeah, but all that stuff, when you're mixing by ear and you're using disco tracks, high energy tracks, old school tracks, that stuff moves on you. Mm-hmm. So you got to be able to catch it by ear. Either these guys get real good at turning down the bass and fading it out. You know what I mean? But as opposed to the people who you see now spinning out, where nothing goes off beat. I mean, nothing goes. It's never goes. It's flawless. And I'm like, you know what? That is not the same thing. And I'm not knocking you. I'm just saying that if you had to do it on vinyl, could you do it on vinyl?
Yeah.
Show me your skills on vinyl, okay? Let's take a creative vinyl. Show me what you can do. Because if you don't have those, maybe you just didn't grow up with that time period and you didn't experience it. But if you did, in order to stand out when we grew up, you had to have those skills. And the quicker you were with it, the better your music selection, the in and out and the remixing. That's the only way you stood out. It
Yeah.
wasn't because anybody liked you or or you were related to somebody. I don't think that was never the case. It always you had to throw down. Same thing when Pablo came up on the north side, and then he had a name for New Wave. You know what I mean? And you knew if you hired Pablo for New Wave, you knew what you were going to get. He was going to pull a crowd, and he was going to throw down on New Wave. So that's what you had to do in order to stand out when we grew up. You know what I mean? And a lot of the older guys now who are still spinning, they're not using vinyl anymore. So it's all either now it's these little controllers. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Which I don't.
I'll take my computer. I'll take this little
You got a
controller.
controller? I don't even got a controller.
I got a controller.
How do you have one? I don't even have one.
Because I went to go buy one to go and learn how to be a DJ.
Whatever.
And that shit's hard. I ain't
See,
gonna lie to you.
you got Rich Huerta on the mix, and Rich and his brother made their name on 26th Street.
Yep.
Same thing. They were just aggressive. They started promoting their own events, and they could throw down when they spun. So they had their own following. They had their own. Everybody had their own little pocket they came from. But initially, to stand out, you had to be able to throw down. You had to be quick, and everybody was, what is this track? What is that track? Boom, 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 boom. You know what I mean? So now you got the same records. Okay, what's the difference between you and the next guy? And it took a lot of practice to stand out.
Do you feel? Because I know, like, I meet DJs and then I talk to certain ones or whatever. Because sometimes there's some of the people are intimidating. I'm sorry, you were one of those intimidating ones. I'm not gonna lie to you. But do you feel that you're shy, or do you feel like because I don't know you like know you like I thought Pablo was arrogant too at one point in time. I'm not gonna lie. I mean, because sometimes you guys get hit with different like questions, or people are just trying to get to know you for the different ways or whatever. But do you feel that your craft and the way that you concentrate on that craft can sometimes make your appearance seem very shy or very arrogant?
I don't know. You tend to network with the same people, and that's like I remember when they hired us for a history of freestyle at the the Concord, and I'm sitting backstage behind the DJ equipment. We're sitting on crates or whatever, and it's me, Jesse De La Pena, and Pump and Pete, and we're just shooting shit. But those are guys we grew up with. You know what I mean? And you don't. There's nothing really that needs to be explained. Everybody knows what we're talking about. They just go different directions. Jesse's has always been new wave, but he also plays
House, yeah.
jazz, house stuff, different kinds of music. Pump and Pete, you know what you're gonna get. He's a trick DJ. He loves hip hop. Boom, boom, boom. He can still throw down on house if you ask him to do house, but. So it doesn't. I don't think that's an arrogance. That's just the people we grew up with. That's our crowd. Different people will come up to you and you remember me, blah blah. blah.
You're like,
I'm sorry. I not to be rude. I just sometimes you don't, and then people change over time. And then I remember seeing you here, I remember seeing you there, and boom boom boom, and it's true. People saw you spin. You had a lot of exposure, so people did see you. Maybe they never got to meet you, or they know somebody who knew you. You know what I mean? In that type of situation, but. It's impossible in these venues. That'd be like you going into a packed Pierre's banquets with 700 people, and then, somebody trying to introduce themselves. It's just like there's so much going on. There's
Right.
so many people. It's not arrogance. It's just that you tend to stick with the people and that's just the way it is.
I like that clarification only because of the fact that, again, sometimes when you meet people, I'll turn and say, oh, I know them. They're really cool. And then, you get a person who says, I thought they were rude. And I'm like, well, did they know you? Or did you catch them like when they were busy? So I like the way that you put that, because sometimes that comes off for anybody.
Yvonne's saying in the chat, some of these straight-faced guys are intimidating to approach, even to say, hey, great set. No, don't be afraid to tell them that.
Yeah.
Because those DJs, it's good to hear. It's good to hear that people appreciated your set. You're walking out saying to me, man, you threw down.
We want to hear that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's actually affirmation. That what you're doing, people are appreciating. That's never a bad thing.
You hear that, everybody. You let them know that it's important. I always tell somebody that they had a good set. I won't tell them they had a bad set. I'll just walk away. But I mean, for the most part, I think that doesn't. It's not an ego thing, but it makes you feel like as if even if you reached one person that day, you might have just saved their life. That's how I see it, because you don't know what everybody's going through. You don't know what somebody's doing or what they're thinking, and you just might have saved somebody's life for that day, and that might be the person that turns around and says, it was a great set. I loved it. It did so much for me, and I think that's important for DJs in itself.
Yes.
So Now walk me through the rest of your timeline. Give me some years, give me some timelines, what you did after the Rainbow.
I didn't last much longer after that. I got married maybe within a year after the Rainbow, after I was no longer with the Supreme team. That's when I started dating my wife. She was going to Morton East High School. And so I would go there to promote, and her friend was dating one of my friends from the neighborhood, and that's how we met. After we got married, which I think she was probably 18, I was 21, that was it. My first son was on his way within...
She robbed the cradle.
Yeah. Well...
It's not a cradle no more, though.
I had to take that one off the market, boy. But, so then, life hits you hard, in the face, I mean? Now you got a baby on the way, and those expenses involved with that, and you don't worry about that when they're here. You got to start getting ready now. So from that point to almost 25 years later, almost to 2015, I was completely out of the scene. So that's like 90 to 2015, gone. You didn't see me. And I came back when they were doing the history of freestyles. They invited me to come spin at the Congress in Milwaukee.
Yeah.
And that thing was packed. So I'm
I
like,
was
okay.
there.
I'm like, if I'm gonna spin here, I'm not gonna come back just as one person, blah 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 blah, because it's a different scene, a different world. So I hooked up with Hollywood, and Hollywood wrote a track where he rapped on that. What is that? Bum 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 bum. Dun 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 dun.
Oh, MC Hollywood is what he's talking about.
You know the track, right? Huh?
Is it Voodoo Child?
Voodoo Child. So he did a rap on Voodoo Child, and then I called up the dancer from the Colitos, Alma. So then I had Alma, who was going to be a go-go dancer for me. She brought in Zenaida. So now for that show at the Congress, which was sold out, I mean, you could not move.
Yeah.
They had so many bass bottoms across the front of the stage that Nick could walk out on top of the bass bottoms and talk to the crowd.
He did.
He had an LED wall that was probably 15, 20 feet high by 30 feet wide. You're like, holy smokes.
The hallways were packed. Everything, you couldn't move.
Having been gone for so long, I come to the side of the stage and I see in the back rooms waiting to perform, you got Cynthia, you've got Judy. There was so many artists on that show, and they're all hanging with Tim Schomer. And I'm like, who is this guy? I had I'd never met this guy, I never heard this guy, and I go, you know what, that's okay. They don't know me. I know their music, and they probably were coming in as I was leaving at that time. That's when Cynthia's music was hitting. I go, but they're gonna know me after this show. So we started rocking that place. When they gave us a good time set, and boom, it's like always happens. As soon as you're rocking that place, Julian shows up. I need to get on right now. You're like, what? He wants to bump you, and he's done it multiple times. You're like, okay, whatever. We got a good 20 minutes in. We rocked this place, and then Nick's like, man, you did better than everybody. Who knows? Maybe Nick's blowing smoke up your butt. You know what I mean? But you gave him a good show. You know what I mean? And at the end of the night, he's like, you're not gonna charge me for this, are you?
That's Nick for you. That's Nick for you.
Okay.
Put Nick in there for that one.
Yeah.
Oh my
4,000
God.
people, you're not going to charge me for it?
No. I mean, we could go deep.
That's Nick's business.
Okay, but then when he's pulling a crowd together, which I haven't seen since, of 4,000 or 5,000 people, you're like, okay, it's good exposure. It was good exposure, and you got a good slot. But one of the pet peeves you have is like, okay, when you're gonna have the stage, let the DJ have the stage. The other guy shouldn't be up there disconnecting stuff, plugging stuff in. It's like, so here you are throwing down, and somebody else from South Chicago decides to come up there, and he's on the other set of equipment because they had CDJs and I had brought my 12s, and so he's trying to. It almost looked like he was DJing, and I'm like, the guy, you're not the one DJing. Would you get out the stage, whatever, But that's just the way it is, But you appreciate the opportunities, which are now far and few in between. Like spinning for the Chosen Few Festival. How many people they had there? You said?
Oh, geez, 50,000.
50,000. Were you going to see a crowd of 50,000? You know what I mean? For that, don't worry about it. No charge. We'll come out and spend 50,000. 50,000.
Hey, I'll do it for free. 50,000? Hell yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, boy, so what you guys were talking about with Jazzy Jeff, everybody knows Jazzy Jeff. But the thing is that festival only happens once a year.
Right.
The Chosen Few are known for house music. That's their staple, and that's what they hang their hat on in Chicago. It's Chosen Few house music. You could say it in the same breath. So when you wait a year for that festival to come up, and they bring out Jazzy J, and he throws on whatever he wants to hear, whatever music is popular from the East Coast, as opposed to, you know what Chicago is, and Chicago's synonymous for house music. That's what they want to hear.
But I think, with that, they're going to hear it from 8 o'clock in the morning to 10 o'clock at night. So So what? He throws, some R&B in there and mixed it up a little bit. I know what you're saying. I totally get what you're saying because, you're right. Everybody knows it as the biggest house music picnic in Chicago, where people fly out from everywhere. But the other part about that is that, there's nothing wrong with taking a break. He's going to be on there for an hour, and you're going to hear house music right after him.
The thing is, though, as the promoter, you want to see that floor packed. And you're trying to please your customers. So, like I said, if
he still had it packed.
Well, yeah, but it depends on who's event it is. If the Chosen Few are okay with it, then there's really nothing.
Exactly.
There's nothing else you can say about it because it's their show. But had it been somebody else's show who didn't want to hear that kind of music, they'd be like, okay, we're not inviting you back.
Well, it's the promoter's job to tell the DJ, hey, this is a house fest.
Mm-hmm.
We need you to play house music.
Right.
And if Jazzy had something to...
And all of them were pretty clear. They were like, we're not going to tell them. Yeah, I'm sure that they knew what they were getting into.
It must have happened.
But if Wayne and Al and Terry and all of them, they were all cool with it, then don't worry about it.
That's right, yeah.
They're the ones who flew them out there, so they knew exactly what they were about to bump into when it all happened. I'm sure, if they would ask for a playlist, but I mean, you know what you're getting when you hired him. I mean, I've heard him plenty of times on different Facebook, lives, and I've always heard him play R&B. I had never heard him play a house track, maybe once here or there. Now, if you're talking about D Nice does play house tracks. So if you're going to bring him from California to Chicago, you know what you're getting because he does tailor to house music. So that's how I see it. I mean, if whoever decided to bring him, they knew what they were getting into when they got it.
Yeah, well, you got Rich Horta bringing up the same thing in the group chat that we talked about earlier. It's like when Bad Boy Bill spun at the Hot Mix 5 reunion.
Oh my God,
okay?
I remember that.
And it's not to knock Bill. Everybody knows Bill. His name will always be synonymous with Chicago.
Yeah.
Okay, but it's a Hot Mix 5 reunion. It's all house heads showing up to this thing. That's what they want to hear. House music, old school, Italo, blah, blah. You already know. You know it like the back of your hand. And I was watching because Tony Rosales had asked me to be part of the show, but then he told me, yeah, you're going to go on at like 3 o'clock in the afternoon. I'm like, yeah, you know what? That's okay. Keep it. Okay. I still showed up to see the show, but that was in Mickey's room where Bill came on kind of prime time. That must have been 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock. Room's packed. You can't move. Not even 5 minutes later, that room's empty. Why? Because he wants to play his new EDM stuff that he's playing, which works for the younger crowd. So at what point do you say, okay, yeah, you are who you are, but this is who you're playing for. You know who you're playing for. These are the people that kind of made you who you are. I mean, they supported you when you were on the radio. They supported you in your guest spots. They supported you when you were coming up and you were young. Can't you at least give them, a taste of, what they had, what you were known for?
Well, he started off strong. He played Grace of God, or he did play Grace of God to start walking into that, because I remember that. And then he did a couple of tracks, and then he went sideways. So,
but he did that with it didn't really seem to bother him, you know what I mean? Because he's going to play what he wants to play.
Right.
You know what I mean? And that just didn't work with that crowd.
But for me, I think for that particular thing, for Tony's, thing at the McCormick Place, it was all about the Hot Mix 5 and their reunion and bringing them back. And what I did like about what Tony did that year was he gave them their 5 rooms. And there was a line of different DJs for each room to make everybody happy. It was the first time I got to see Marshall Jefferson DJ. I had never seen him DJ at any point in time when I was younger, and it was my first time to ever see him DJ for the first time. Mm-hmm. So I was really excited about that. But I got to give it up to Tony. He did do well, but I do remember that particular one, and I forgot who was playing. I don't know if I think it was Farley that was playing up against him.
But the crazy thing is that all still goes back to politics. It goes back to, okay, so this is Farley's room, this is Mickey's room, this is Scott's room, that's Ralphie's room. So whoever's their buddy is going to get right up there next to the best time slot you could possibly get. Anybody else, you're boom, pushed down the line. So I was watching, I think Mario Diaz spun close to Mickey's time slot too. And okay, I know Mario, I heard his name, I know who he is. But then a cousin of Mario's or something like that spun after. I was like, oh, you gotta be kidding me. I was like, so it goes back to, what's Chicago? Not what you know, who you know. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So it's like, guy, there's so many other people that could have destroyed this time slot. You know what I mean? And you give it up to somebody who's just buddy.
Do you think, now that you look at it in retrospect, do you think, hey, maybe I should have taken that 3 o'clock spot?
Oh no.
I mean, does it
never.
matter now?
No. Yeah, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It doesn't
Yeah,
matter.
I wouldn't do that either.
No.
It was packed though.
No, not at 3 o'clock,
I
it
see where
wasn't.
he's going with
Yeah,
that.
yeah,
yeah. Okay.
You reach a certain point, it's in your life, and especially if you put how many years in this business, you shouldn't have been put on a 2 or 3.
Okay.
Maybe 6 or 7, because you're not a headliner, but give that to someone who's starting off, maybe, that's
A lesser known DJ or, someone who's
Some- you know,
up and
Well,
coming.
listen, in some ways, if you're gonna really destroy that set, you know what I mean, you're really gonna freaking get that crowd going because that's what's in you. You know what I mean? That's just what you're gonna do. You're gonna go there and really put on. They don't want you at that time slot. Honest to
Well,
God.
that's funny because
You know what I
everybody
mean?
was supposed to start showed up in time slots. I don't know if you were there from the beginning.
So, no,
didn't show up.
If the guy
Came later.
if your headliner wants to stand out, in some cases he's gonna bookshelf himself with 2 other people who are not gonna outshine him. You know what I mean? And that unfortunately that's the way it is. You know what I mean? And it shouldn't be that way, but that's the way it is. You know.
I get that part, but the other part is like, I guess for me, and again, I'm not a DJ, so I can't speak on how that feeling is. And you're right, you guys put in your time. I guess for me, when I look at it, it's just like it's still a part of history that people are, like you're talking about right now, that you were there and that everybody remembers the DJs that they saw in each of those rooms. And I guess for me, I just kind of look at it as, it's still a part of history that people talk about, and they could have talked about you in the same manner. Like, he threw down for that 3 o'clock slot. They should have had him at the prime time. You know what I mean? That's kind of how I view it. But again, I'm not a DJ, so I can't say much on it. But I do understand what both of you are saying.
But if it was an event like the Chosen Few, where it starts at 8 a.m.,
yeah.
well, 3 o'clock to be prime time.
Yeah, that's a different story.
That's a different.
Well,
right.
like they were saying about Bulu.
Yeah.
They had Bulu at 1 o'clock, I think it was like 1:15, and somebody turned around and said, why in the hell they have you so damn early? You're like a major DJ in this community. Why would they have you at 1 o'clock? But again, it's the chosen few. So, 8 a.m. to 10 p.m., people are already lined up. He saw for the first time, he was like, did you see the line? I'm like, I get there like around 6 a.m. to get in line.
Really?
So you can get a prime spot. If you did not buy a tent, you are in that line at 6 a.m. So when they open the gates at 7, you're in a prime spot. I mean, it's yes, you have to go to the Chosen Few second weekend of July, second Saturday of July, all the time. But you're getting in there at 5:30, 6 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, just to experience it.
So you are there all day. That's why people bring hammocks, because they take naps. So you took a sabbatical to raise your family. Do you feel I'm only asking this because I hear DJs who have taken. I know Mike took a sabbatical to raise his family, and there's a lot of things that happened during that whole house era when he, raised his family. Is there any point in time where you feel like, man, maybe I wish I could have gotten back in at that time?
No. I didn't miss anything.
Okay.
Because family is everything.
Mm-hmm.
And at that time, when you reach that glass ceiling, and I mean, you got nowhere else to go, other than get on the radio, and they were not about to let anybody else on the radio. That has been a monopoly from day one, and that goes back to the Hot Mix 5. So anybody who was connected to them, who worked at Cook County Sheriff's, it seems like, I mean, honest to God,
He's going there.
There's level of that, you know what I mean?
went there.
Put that in a book, you know what I mean? So these guys not only put their friends in, but they slammed the door shut. Okay, Tony, who was buying more airtime on B96 than anybody, he had it set up with B96 to where he was going to get the Supreme team on the radio every week, the same way you had those guys. And who messed that up? Julian. Every single time you turn around, it was Julian, making sure other people didn't get on. Another time I got a call from Farley, we're going to have you replace Mario Diaz. I'm starting it up on GCI. I want you to be the Latino DJ. Boom, boom, no problem. You start working on the mix. What ends up happening that same week? Julian jumps ahead over Farley, gets Farley kicked off GCI. Now it's Julian's guys again. So it's like, you know what? I mean, when I said on one post on Facebook one time that there were a lot of street DJs who were just as good, if not better, than the radio DJs, well, people started arguing, Kenny's like, oh, you got 2 jobs, you should be happy. No, mira. It's not that. It's that there was a lot of talent that got passed over and was not allowed to shine and to be exposed on the radio like the way those guys were. Even if you would have just had one guest a week. Just
Yeah,
one guest.
I agree.
I mean, I would have loved to heard Tony Boom Boom Badea as a guest on the radio. You know what I mean? Mario Reyes, I think he was with the Master Mix 6 maybe.
Yeah,
you know
Master
what I mean?
Mix 6 on GCI.
Mario's always been good. Martino Spinning Ramos has always thrown down from the north side. Steve Sakurai, who rest in peace, another one who threw down on the north side.
haven't heard that name
So
in a
many
long
big
time.
DJs on the south side. You know, Steve Santoyo was on CRX. I would have loved to have heard him on B96 or GCI or, you know, one of those stations. So why not? Why not open the door to these guys? You know what I mean? And it's like, okay, yes, those guys will. The original guys, Onyx 5 members, will always be a staple in history, in our history of house music and old school. But there were so many guys who never got that opportunity. So when you get there and you can't go any farther, what do? You go back down and start doing freaking daytime parties, backyard party. Yeah, it's nice, you know what I mean? But it isn't 5,000 people.
Right.
It's not, you know, sold out, you know, Navy Piers, Rivieras, Aragons, Rainbows. I mean, there's nowhere else to go. So I think after I left the Supreme, I did do a few of my own events.
I don't mean to cut you off. Supreme Team was you, Larry Thompson, and who else?
Sly Hula Hula Fox,
Okay.
and Ween Paez.
Okay.
So there's Tony again. You
Is
got
that Martino?
No, Martino had left, and that's what opened the slot for me.
Oh, okay.
So Larry was the black guy of the group. Ween was the Filipino from Lane Tech. Sly was Humboldt Park all day long, and Charlie was the South Side, you know, DJ. So that's Tony doing his mixed culture, you know, pulling from all different parts. I mean, there's so many. I mean, being out there at night, hanging posters for Tony Batoy. You know what I mean? Passing out flyers. You know, and then I see somebody down the block taking my posters down. I'm like, what the? Another owner of another venue.
They used to do that with
That was
Peter
Martino.
John Productions
That was
too.
Martino.
If he wasn't on the flyer.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Kidding.
So you come back, you do the history of house at the Congress,
Yes.
and then where does it take you from there? Because now in your comeback, you're coming back with a lot of concerts now.
Well, after that, I started the Ready to Rock group, and Ready to Rock, as an internet radio show, when we first started, when we had Babalu, Ecstasy, Vic, a few of the guys like that, we were doing good. We were pulling in 7,000 to 10,000 listeners a week. Then that dropped off. We stopped, and we started to back up. You know, because of the concerts now, we've been doing them to promote the shows. Last week, we're almost at 8,000 views on last week's show. So we're building again. You know, people are paying attention. You know, a lot of it has Mickey's on there almost like every week, so it helps. But Ready to Rock has grown in accordance with the events. But even at the events, it's a whole different thing now. It's not, even though I may put my name on the flyer, I never DJ.
I noticed that. Why is that?
No, it's because I don't believe that I'll ever see those size of events that we saw growing up. And it's giving back. You know what I mean? It's letting the other guys shine. Let them be on the big stage. Let them, you know, get the, you know, entertainment, you know, attention and wow the crowd. There's nothing wrong with that, you know?
But what
So-
if people came to see you? I'm just saying.
Oh,
like,
my cousins always ask it all the time, and now there's like 50 of them showing up. They're like, "When are you gonna spin?" You know, and I'm like, "You know, the next one, you know." But
Because I remember, and this was probably before I met, maybe when I met you. And I was like, oh, Charlie's gonna, I remember you, like I said. So then I was like, well, how come Charlie didn't DJ?
It's happened at we had a Janelle's reunion a couple years ago. It was me, you, and
Yeah, and you
Mike
didn't.
CHAZ. And
I was like, what the?
He didn't
what
make
the
it.
F?
I forgot why, but where's Charlie at?
Yeah, that was the year I met you too,
Oh, yeah,
and I was
right.
like, well, where's Charlie? Because there are people who still remember you, and there's people that still, you know, you still have a following. So I find, for me, I find it to be a disappointment because I'm like, if I'm going to see Charlie and I don't know Martino or any of them, I'm coming to see Charlie and Charlie's not there.
we'll have to work that out one day. One day we'll work it out.
I was really upset. I go, why isn't Charlie DJing? Because I wanted to see
She
you.
asked me for a refund. I got nothing to do with this. We'll see Al.
There are a million DJs now, and with technology, people who probably shouldn't be DJs are DJs, but they are. That's just technology. I'm telling you, unplug the sink and it's over. That's over, papas.
I'm just saying that if you're going to promote yourself, at least do it. If not, I get it. You want to give everybody that credit, but if I'm thinking Charlie's going to DJ, I want to see Charlie DJ. And you got and you got to take that into consideration, because if a lot of people who remembered your name synonymously
Especially
to
on
the
the South
past,
Side, yeah.
then they want to see Charlie.
They can find me on SoundCloud.
Because even the Colitos were saying, they're like, well, where's Charlie? Where's Charlie? So it's a disappointment for us older fans.
I've been wanting to get them to dance too.
Oh, I can make that
Yeah, I
happen.
did. The last time I tried to get them, you had them at Easter. The
Good
last
luck.
time I tried to
Yes,
get
I
them.
did.
Yeah,
I can make that happen.
Yeah, I will tell them to come on down for Halloween. We'll add them to the show.
I can make that happen. I was like, tag
We're
Alma on
throwing
here.
everything but the kitchen sink on that show, boy.
But I just think that you need to throw a set. I'm sorry.
But yeah,
I do.
but you know what? I when you pack the house here on these events, which it's tough to do. It's really tough to do now. It's a lot.
You
of
want me to
promotion.
take over the door for an hour?
Yeah,
I'll make that happen.
People have a lot of choices, and they select. You know, well, there's this one this week. There's another one next week. You know, blah 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 boom, and you know they got options out there. But when you do that, you still have people walking around. Man, it was a badass set. You know, I mean, people had a great time. You have a few people complain, you know, my table was horrible. I couldn't see it. I'm sorry.
I was complaining about the damn beer. That was too much money for some damn bucket of beer. I ain't gonna lie to you.
Hey, people,
but
these
show was
venue
great.
owners, they
show was
do
great.
milk the prices.
The show was great. I you had Rocker's Revenge there, which I thought was cool. What's her name? Kim.
Oh yeah, from the girl who sings like this.
Yes.
She's amazing. Great
you had
voice
her.
too. Yeah.
I mean, you've had a lot of people come through, and now you're going to do the freestyle versus house.
Well, it's not really verses. It's just the Divas of Freestyle House.
Okay.
You know, on the same night.
And who are they?
We're gonna have
Let's talk
Cynthia.
about it.
We're gonna have Cynthia, the Dream Girl. This is Saturday, October 31st at Pierre's Banquets in Berwyn. The Divas of Freestyle House. We're gonna have Cynthia, the Dream Girl, the Queen of Freestyle, Judy Torres, Chicago's very own Laura, and legendary house music artist Dajay, along with a strong lineup of DJs. So, I mean, I'm sure everybody knows everybody that's on this lineup, from CZR, who was just added,
Yeah.
Mickey Oliver, the Hot Mix 5, QMM, who's here running the show tonight, Rich Hot Mix Huerta from Hall of Fame 2, Tom Puerto Rico Perez, Peter rocking down the house at Aparicio, Mike Huerta coming all the way in from Houston, Texas, my brother Philip Delamore, everybody knows Phil, and that guy Charlie CHAZ D's on the flyer. I don't know when he's gonna spin, but he's on the flyer.
Damn it. Take his ass off the flyer until he decides to DJ.
That's okay.
You got Nandi on here. What's up, Nandi? Patrick Perez is on here as well. Marco Montoya's on here. Martha's coming all the way from Arizona. What's up, girl? She says, hey, guys, maybe Charlie brings all the girls to the yard for the rest of the DJs to shine. I agree. Peter Aprecio's on here as well. Tom Perez, what's going on? And then, who else am I missing? I'm pretty sure I'm missing everybody. But, well, either way, if I missed you, hello, everybody. Welcome in. And we are here with Charlie CHAZ D. You started these concerts now at Pierre's, which Pierre's has gotten so packed on.
Right.
Who have you brought in thus far? I mean, I know you had...
We've had Rocker's Revenge,
Yep.
which was, it's going out on a ledge because even though everybody knows that song, nobody brings them. You know what I mean?
well, that's a huge neighborhood song.
Yeah,
That's a huge neighborhood song.
It is. But think about it. To be able to meet those guys. Peter always laughs when he talks about the guy, because I think he was in a wheelchair when he did that show. And he gets up and he goes, oh, yeah. Yeah, I don't. I was like, man, there's so many crazy things that happened. Like that night, we didn't know, he's coming in a wheelchair. We didn't have a ramp. So we're fabricating a ramp right there in the evening, taking one of the panels of the stage and turning it around. I go, man, that ramp better not give out with the guy with the wheelchair on it. We'll never live this down. Somebody will have it on camera.
Hey, Marsha, how you doing?
So with Rocker's Revenge, that was a nice show. We've had a bunch of house music artists, from Curtis.
Was it Cynthia or Judy Torres? Yeah, K-Joy was there.
We've had Cynthia there, packed. We've had Judy Torres there.
She packed it as well.
We've had Sapphire. We've had Trenier. Artists that you normally don't see on the South Side, and they're getting more expensive every single year. It's more and more and more money to bring.
Well, they're bringing them back. I'm noticing like they're doing these cruises. New York they had a huge Broadway show about freestyle, and I mean now that they're starting to synonymously all come up around the same time and get their flowers. Yeah, they're starting to get more expensive now.
They're legends. I brought in Cynthia in '86, '87. She was $1,200.
Oh yeah.
Well, that was a lot of money though back then too.
But now it must be a lot.
Cynthia might as well get a second home here. That's how
No
much
kidding, man. No kidding. Like she needs a condo. She's like, just come over here on the
Get her a
weekends.
condo in Humboldt Park.
Who now? Who would you like to see under your bill? Come.
Oh, I've got a lineup
Like, do you have
ready.
a bucket list? Like, I gotta hit these people.
I've got a lineup ready, but you can't let nobody know who
That's
you're
true.
going to bring.
That's true. I just thought I'd try. I thought I'd try, but you know.
There's an old school show I've been waiting to put together, and I love the lineup because everybody knows these people. There's going to be like 3 different groups, and there isn't anybody who loves old school that does not know these songs. But it may be something that's too big for Pierre's. And there's other venues I'm looking at, but if it's a little bit of a drive out towards the burbs, maybe a half hour from Chicago, but this place is amazing. It can hold as many people as the Congress or the Concord. Beautiful parking, beautiful suites, incredible. Guys, a beautiful place. I just got to put everything together, and I've got these artists. Are you going to bring us? Are you going to bring us? Yeah, I want to bring you guys. But let's just find the right date with this venue, and then book the artists. And I mean, even the promotion. Standard promotion takes 90 days. 90 days to launch something, to let everybody know, to start sharing and promoting and promoting and promoting, and then people, it's like the law of numbers, you start getting your VIPs locking in, and they're the first ones that want to make sure they got their tables. And then afterwards, you start bringing in the GAs. And then before you know it, there's no more tables left.
Right.
Can I get it? No, there's no more tables. Okay, now you're standing
Oh,
room only,
I know. He goes through that every time. He's like, I got tickets. It's always those last minute people. Oh, well, I didn't know. Bullshit. You didn't know. You knew for 3 months. He's been putting it on his damn page for 3 months. You got this last minute. Oh, now I want to call. I want to go urge. No. Pay the ticket. Pay the money.
It is not easy to make sure that the amount of tables that you sold and that you have are still there at the end of the night. Because you got people that's not their table, but they go sit down anyway. 'Cause they want to bring you're like, okay, show me your VIP receipt. I mean, where's your wristband? Where's your land? They don't have it. Or they'll go from a table of 4 and they bring a few more people. Now they're sitting in a table of 8. They're like, Charlie, there's no more tables. What do you mean there's no more tables of 8? And like, man, I gotta send my guys back there. Go find it. Get them out of that table.
Just let me know, because I was pretty good with our table. I was like, get the hell out of my table. I don't know who you are. Get the hell out. Oh, I was rude about our table. What up, Voodoo? He's coming all the way from LA. I hope you had a really great set. If not, I'm sure it's probably either yesterday or today. Let's see. Oh, Louis Segura's in the house. Hey, what's up, love? I believe this. I
still remember a Halloween party that we had at the Buzz Bomb, and Louis Segura was wearing some costume. I was like, he looked cool in it, but I was just like, you know what? That's crazy, But these DJs are comfortable, coming out there and spinning for their people.
Louis, what did you wear that day at Buzz Bomb? I want to know now. I want to know. Do you know?
Hey,
Were you there?
Listen,
No.
Buzz Bomb was another crazy night. Coming back into the scene, that was one of the first venues I tried. People said, yeah, you got to do something there. So we booked, and we had Fast Eddie. And we had sold X amount of tickets, X amount, boom, boom, boom. And so you think you got room to fit 600-700 people. No. That owner was so crooked, the guy running that place. All of a sudden, by the middle of the night, like 10 o'clock, he's like, that's it, you guys got to close the doors. What do you mean? You're sold out. I'm like, no, we're not. He's got all kinds of people coming in through the kitchen, coming in through the side door, coming in through the back door. I'm like, you mofos they messed us up intentionally. He's like, okay, that's it. Learn my lesson.
Yeah, that's the only thing wrong, I think, is like, when you don't, I can get you through the back door, you got kitchen staff or whichever. But I do feel that whatever venue anybody chooses to have something, I mean, look at Indiana right now. Indiana's got a whole freestyle concert going on at Festival of Lakes right now. And I'm sure everybody from Chicago just drove down there because it's a great
nice,
venue to
nice
go and
weather.
see, and it's free.
And it's not too far, right?
Free. All you're paying is $10 or $20 for the parking, which if you're coming in a carload, I mean, you just got your money's worth to go over there. And then you got a beautiful sunset on a beautiful night. I mean, it's worth it.
We're working on a festival. We could have done it this year, but there's not enough time. It's going to be next September, I'd say next October. As big as what they're doing out in Indiana, we're going to have that here on the south side.
There you go.
But it's going to be a festival that we run the festival. It's our event, our stage, our guys, our weekend, boom, boom, boom. And we'll definitely fill it up with artists. It's gonna be a nice show. But same thing, you can't say anything until this thing is all put together and done.
What DJ do you feel you would have liked to have been next to or done a set with or been on the same bill back in the day?
Really not any. I had the fortune to spin with a lot of the ones that we, admired growing up. Whether it was Mickey, Farley, Kenny, Julian, Bill, All of them. We spun. I was fortunate enough to spin with all of them. Maybe I never spun with Scott.
I mean, neither.
Yeah. I still remember being real young, and my brothers in mixed production, Paul, and they took us to an event on 33rd in Morgan. And I'll never forget that because that's when Kenny was doing the keyboard on top of "Don't You Want Me." I mean, amazing stuff.
Was that at St. George's Church?
I don't know, but what I do remember was one of the guys that we went with. He was, he was into that other life, and him and his boys were waiting for somebody to walk out the door that night, and they wanted to hit him. And that guy walked straight out the door into a car waiting for him, so they couldn't get him. And so then another guy who was more like a bodybuilder type guy with his girlfriend, they started with him. And before you know it, one of them pulls a gun, guy gets shot in the neck, blood everywhere. I don't even know what happened to this guy. So now you're walking home because these dum-dums went and shot somebody. And you're walking home from 33rd and Morgan all the way to 52nd and Campbell. You know how many different neighborhoods that is?
Oh, yeah.
You're getting chased over here, chased over there. You're like, it's like the movie The Warriors.
Yeah.
Trying to get home. You're like, holy cow.
I would have called the radio station and be like, hey, we got a real-life warrior movie going on right now. Let's see if I make it home.
That was insane, just because you went to see these guys. And it was like that, the different neighborhoods it was never really a thought process. You want to see the DJs, and that's who you really admired, and you wanted to hear their style. You wanted to hear how they were spinning. Guys like Mario Reyes and Felix Carranza, those guys could hold a beat, I swear to God, like it was magnetically locked on beat. And it was just, you appreciated the skill, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And back then, let's say like the dance track Gaucho, Dance Forever. Oh
yeah.
My God, was that a big dance floor, what do you call it, floor filler back then. So, Disco Circus crossed over from disco into our genre, and same thing, another floor filler.
It's still a floor filler. He played it over at
first time I played
at the Club Romo this past October, and he shocked the hell out of everybody when he dropped that song, and everybody's like, what? So it's still a crowd filler to this day, and it still packs a dance floor.
Thank you, Stephanie.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
You deserve that.
See, for him, that's a little bit going outside the norm, probably what he plays, but that's good. Look at the reaction you get. You know what I mean? So that's the thing about DJing that I don't see these DJs willing to do anymore. They're not willing to step outside the norm, and I don't care if you got thrown a cappella on it to somebody, like it's gonna be a fine day, boom, but then it throws a newer track behind it. If it's house, they're gonna dance to it, you know what I mean? And later on, take the acapella on, play the track, you know what I mean? And you'll get people to jam to this stuff. It's just, people gotta start opening up their horizons a little bit, and experiencing this music. You'll always have the staples and the stuff we love, but
Right.
be willing to give some of this other stuff a chance.
And I think a lot of the DJs that have been sitting where you're sitting today have all said the same thing. Play 4 tracks that everybody knows, and then slip in that new one. Even if it's for
30 seconds.
30 seconds. Let them hear it, and they might just give it to that beat where hey, I kind of like that. What's the name of it? I know we were at Local Cantina, and we all heard who was playing Adam Jam Master Rock. He played a track from Stacy Kidd, and we all were like, damn, that's a good
Everyone
song.
started Shazamming
yeah,
it.
I started Shazamming it, and it was just
What
like,
is
who
that?
plays it?
Yeah.
And it was Stacy Kidd, and all the DJs were like, damn, we really like that. And once they got the name of it, now they'll be playing it. But I think that is so important to try to incorporate some type of new music, because I do think that in some ways people are narrow-minded, and like you said before, you have so many different options now to listen to music in different ways, whether it's Spotify, whether it's Apple Play, whether it's a USB that anybody's created. You just take your mind to exactly what you're used to, and then when you hear something new, it's just like, I don't know if I want to hear that. I know David Sabat got up my behind one year when I first met him, and he gave me a CD, and I'm like, I go, this isn't classics. And he's like, really? I didn't peg you to be like one of those narrow-minded people. And then about a couple of years later, I finally heard like 5 of his CDs that he had given me at the time, and I was like, damn, I really like this. And I started going to Red Dog a lot in '95, and I got hooked on all of the Northside stuff because that's what the Northsiders were playing.
Yeah.
So I just think that at some point, you're right. We have to broaden our horizons to be able to hear new music, because, I mean, if you can hear Bad Bunny, nobody knew who Bad Bunny was. They had to play it.
Coming up, in order to really establish your name, it wasn't that like nowadays you can. Oh man.
Yolanda.
We know with
I don't know, about 10 times in the night.
I mean, you had to battle. There was no way around it. And the DJ battles, you had to battle the people at that time who were also coming up. You know what I mean? And you knew who they were. You knew who their names were. So when we were at Sacred Heart with Quick Mix 3, they set up a battle between the East Side and West Side. So they brought 3 black DJs from the East Side. It was me, Rich, and Hav representing the South Side for Quick Mix 3. Javier won his battle. Rich lost his battle, which is surprising. And then they put me up against DJ Ferris. Ferris ends up on Power 92.3. And I'm like, okay, I can take this guy. I'm not worried about it. And they called it a tie. And they go, now you guys got to have a spin-off. I'm like, no problem. I can spin off my eyes closed. So what does he do? He starts off with Rock Lobster. Boom, 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 boom. Like, holy cow, that's fast. So the only thing you can do is slow that thing down with the pitch as much as you can. Grab El Watusi La Bamba. Boom, 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 boom. Match the beats. Boom, you're out. And quick, within 10, 15 seconds. Then he's got to go. You got to go. Boom, 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 boom. All right, Chaz, you won that battle. Okay, so you beat DJ Ferris. Whatever. I didn't know he was going to be DJ Ferris at Power 92.3 later, but that's who he is. Then they end up saying, hey, Chaz, we want you to battle the Northside DJs. I'm like, oh, whatever. No problem. Who do you want me to battle? Well, we're bringing Nonstop, Boogie Boy, and Jack Boy down here. I'm like, what? I'm like, okay, who you giving me for partners? So we're going to give you Nandi and I think it was Gabriel Rodriguez. I'm like, okay, whatever. I'll do my thing. They do their thing. Let's see what ends up happening. We had the battle. They hadn't decided who won. I went home. I was like, you know what?
I got a bust to catch.
I guess we'll figure this out later. And the party was still going on. My brothers came home with a trophy like this big. Where did you go? You guys won the battle. I'm like, I don't know. So I'm not saying I'm better than Nonstop. That was one battle, one night. Anybody could take that battle. Then they had a battle with Janelle. Same thing. Go battle a bunch of Northside DJs you never heard of. Boom, battle them. Go Supreme Team battle guys from New York. Never heard of it. Oh, I had heard of African Bombada, but he's not really a battle DJ. He's a music producer more than anything. You know what I mean? So you had to keep battling these guys who were next in line. You know what I mean? And then when the DMC battle came out, for the DMC battle for the nation, for the world, you had to first win your battle in Chicago. And everybody knows what Bill did because it's on YouTube. You know what I mean? But at that battle, there were 50 DJs in that battle. I had not heard of like 47 of those DJs. I knew who Steve Santoyo was. I knew who Mike Hitman was. And I knew who Bill was. And I was like, no problem. I'm getting in this battle. I can take Santoyo. I can take Hitman. I'm not worried about Hitman. You know what I mean? If it comes down to Bill and Bill gets first and second, the top two are going to battle in California for the nation. As I'm getting ready, Sly comes up to me and says, hey, Tony says if you lose the battle, you're off the team. I'm like, you got to be kidding me. Sound like crap. What do I do? Do I give up my good gig with all this exposure, or do I get in the battle? So I'm like, oh, dang it. So I backed out of the battle because I kept the gig, right? And
do you regret that?
Oh, hell yeah. I would have gave Bill a run for his money. But. So I'm watching. When it came down to the finals, it was Bill versus Pumpin' Pete. Pumpin' Pete sets his glove on fire. Boom, 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 boom. He's doing his thing. Badass. I love Pumpin' Pete. Bill does his thing, with the dildo, pulls his pants, boom, boom, okay, that's his thing. Okay, whatever. Those two got to fight each other. Let them have it out. The other finalists were Hitman versus Santoyo. I was like, oh, my God, I would have had that battle. So Santoyo's more of he's a great mixer, great radio DJ, great club DJ. But Hitman tries repeating its time with ping pong paddles. Skip, 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 skip. I would have killed this guy. I was like, but that's... Well, they say hindsight is better than foresight, you know what I mean? So, but you can't go back then, you can't change it. But that was the first DMC battle in Chicago. But who did they want to win? They already had selected who was going to win. They weren't going to let you beat a radio station DJ. Hitman and Bill went on to California. Bill hooks up with whoever, in the recording industry out, and that's it. Boom. It's a whole nother life. So his life went boom that way in the industry, and my life went into, you're going to be married, kids, and, raise your kids. Hey, no problem. It was fine. Either way, it was fine. You know what I mean? But those are different nights that you wish you had done something different.
Well, what would you tell? I like asking this question. If your younger self was standing in front of you right now, and looking at yourself of what their journey would look like in front of them, what would you tell your younger self?
You should have took that battle. You should have took that battle, and just. Don't leave anything in the tank. You know what I mean? Give it everything you got, and let the pieces fall where they may. You know what I mean? Because, like I said, that there are a lot of street DJs who are just as good, if not better, than the radio DJs. It could have changed Chicago house music history as we know it, but it was probably meant to be the way it was, and politics being what they are in Chicago, even if you would have done a heck of a show, I don't know that they would have gave it to you or not. You know what I mean? Because there's stories. The same thing with Julian. I went and I was at the battle at the Hot Mix 5 at the Rainbow when Julian was battling. I saw Tony Boom Boom Badea do his set. Tony Boom was phenomenal for starting off with 10 records on each turntable, and he would go boom, 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 boom. He was like, boom, he was on. And then at the end of the battle, they give it to Julian. And then they already had the jacket made for Hot Mix 5 with Julian's name on it. Okay, so politically, you already decided who was going to win this battle before the battle even happened. You know what I mean? Who was judging the battle? I don't know. You know what I mean? But as a DJ with DJ knowledge watching that battle, I know who I thought won that battle and who I would have gave that battle to. To this day, I still say Tony Boom Boom Badea won that battle. Another one they made me battle. So when I was with Chicago's Magic Sounds, they said, hey, we're going to do a battle at the Grand Manor. Okay, who do I got to battle? You're going to battle Tony Boom Boom Badea. Okay, whatever, I'm not worried about it. Before the battle, they're like, hey, Chaz, you've been on top already. You're getting all the attention. It's time for you to let somebody else up. Here, hit this bong. I'm like, what? Okay. And I'm like, okay, all right, okay. And next thing you know, I'm like on the ceiling. Like, I don't know how I'm going to match Beach. You know what I mean? I don't know how I'm going to do this.
I think it sounds good. I think it sounds good.
Yeah, I think so.
That's when you need a Serato.
That's when they said the horses were running in the house. But, so I got second place even in that battle. Not taking nothing away from Tony Boom Boom Badea. Amazing DJ. Could I have beat him without hitting the bong? Yeah, probably. It would have definitely been a good battle. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But I looked up to him. I respect him to this day for the skills he has. And he was one of the great DJs that we've had come out of Chicago that I would have loved to have seen on the radio. There's DJs that you would run and grab your cassette tape and throw it in the boombox, and boom, you wanted to record that mix to have it. And then go down to imports the next day and get whatever records you didn't know what they were. That was one of the guys you would have loved to have heard. Martino Spinning Ramos, he played a lot of music on the north side that we were not, listening to on the south side. It would have been amazing to hear Martino on the radio, And Sly, so there are people that don't like Sly. He took advantage of people and different things, He's gone now, but I never had a problem with Sly. I always loved the guy. He had a lot of good music too from being in the pool and in the different venues that he worked at. He was consistent in the industry, And it's sad the way you see some of these guys go out, But I would have loved to see him on the radio. Nonstop, I would think it was inevitable he was going to be on the radio.
Right.
I mean, he's just another one that really stuck with it, and his name was a good name, and his skills were amazing, And
it took him to a different realm because it didn't keep him in house. It took him to rap.
Yeah.
So it just was like a whole entire different level than what anybody would have expected, because he started off as a house DJ, but where he ended up, with TK or K7 and then DMX at the end, I think phenomenal. That was just a total different trajectory than anybody else took. Charlie, I got a question that I rarely ask any of the, I really haven't asked. Why do you think Latinos are not recognized in the genre of music for their history? Why do you think we keep hearing the same names?
We were blocked from the beginning, and I've narrowed it. Man, I'm not trying to have issues with anybody, but I've narrowed it down to Kenny Jason, because Kenny Jason had to hook up at the county with the guys there, and those are the guys that Kenny chose to put on the air. And I think he's even the one that was the force behind kicking Scott Smoking Cells off. And then they brought Julian in. And once Julian came in, that door slammed shut for the Latinos. And even to this day, if Julian sees you rocking the house, he doesn't want you up there. He wants that attention. And that drives me nuts, okay? You guys got the attention as the Hot Mix 5. You got the attention by being on the radio. Why do you think that you still have to be the headliners and take the best time slots even now? You know what I mean? You can't step aside even now. I mean, let these other guys shine. Let them have a chance. So here, we put these events together. All kinds of investment, all kinds of promotion, all kinds of time to sell these things. And yet, I step aside. let these other guys have an opportunity. There's nothing wrong with that, and I would have loved to have seen more of that with the guys from the radio.
Well, Kenny gave me that opportunity to be on BMX, and I was like 15 years old. So I was one of those guys that he's referring to that, and I don't know Kenny. He was a grown man, but he gave me a shot. Mm-hmm. So, and I'm sure he gave a lot of other people a shot. And sometimes it is political, but sometimes, like in my case, it wasn't. So there are DJs that did get that rare opportunity. I was lucky to be one of them at such a young age, at the right time when BMX was like at their prime, like 85 and all that. But yeah, you're right. It could be political.
You look at the guys that have come on since. Well, I don't think anybody pays too much attention to B96 anymore, but after the Hot Mix 5 guys, you had the guys from B96.
Right.
So say Bill's a Weddle, say Marsky's a Weddle, say Bobby D's a Weddle, say Tim Schomer's a Weddle. So that's all that keeps. So is it the radio station that's all they want?
Oh.
Well, they have Frankie Hollywood.
Yeah, but Frankie Hollywood's not.
They had
You weren't
Frankie
rushing to get a cassette
But
tape
I think it
going
was,
there.
I don't know when they started bringing in like Metro and Flipside. I know Speed was in there in 95 when I was there, when I first started off at B96.
They had the mixer search.
Yeah.
And Alan
They,
Bad Mix Boyd won, but Bobby D got on the radio.
Right.
And the winner was supposed to get the radio spot.
Well, what I heard about that was that, and I don't even want to repeat that. I'm not going to say that story.
Don't get us in trouble.
I'm not going to go
We
there.
don't get censored.
But I knew Alan Bad Mix Boyd from when I was coming up, and he was a bad motherfucker. That Alan's just a bad dude. You know what I mean? His skills were insane.
Mm-hmm.
So again, why are you locking the Latino out and then putting Owedo up there?
and somebody just put that up there right now. Marco Montoya just said, Alan Bad Mix Boyd also was a great DJ that got shafted after winning the B96 mixer search battle, smoked Bobby D and all the others.
Yeah, I watched that video. I watched the video on YouTube of that battle because at that time I wasn't in the scene, and same thing. I mean, if you would have told me who was going to be in that battle, I would have told you Alan was going to take it.
So Alan won. It was Phil K. Swift that came in second.
He's good too.
Bobby D.
Phil's good. Phil's a bad boy. I love Phil.
Yes.
Yeah. When it's somebody whose skill's undeniable, hands down, no problem. You don't have a problem with that. But when it's somebody who's selected because of who they know or their skin tone, then it's a problem. You know what I mean? And then you got to listen to these guys say that they're a legend, that they're the king of this, the king of that. You're like, no. There's a million DJs in Chicago that can throw down on freestyle. I mean, they're freaking good at it. I hear the edits that they do, and I'm like, holy smokes, But they don't get the chance to be on the radio. I mean,
I'll agree to that because I do think there's a lot of DJs that don't get their recognition that I think are phenomenal DJs from even when I was growing up and even now, that they don't find that they don't get what they're supposed to get. They don't get the flowers that they should get. In regards to us as Latinos, Beto just brought it up right now. He said that we fight too much amongst each other in regards to why we are not recognized the way we should be. Do you agree to that? Because I know other people have said that too, that we clash too much with each other or the egos are too much for each other. Do you find that to be the problem with Latinos and why we're not where we need to be?
That's been happening since the 80s.
Yeah, but at some point we're all adults now.
We should
so
grow up
let's
already
just,
by now.
let's just call it for what it is.
Yeah.
We're adults now.
Right.
We've grown up.
You would need somebody to start a radio station, and I don't even know how that goes because everything is online right now. You know what I mean? But if you could have a radio station and then support the Latino DJs in Chicago, that would be amazing. You know what I mean?
Weekly guest.
There's a lot of good DJs out there.
Mm-hmm.
They don't get the exposure, and it's a craft that's going to be around for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
It keeps evolving with technology, and somebody might play something you never heard. They may do play it in a way that you've never heard, never thought of. You know what I mean? And it expands your thoughts. You know what I mean? Like, oh, that's badass.
Mm-hmm.
Seeing that would be like seeing. A young Tony Badea, or a young CHAZ D, or a young QMM, young Pablo, and you recognize the talent. This guy just needs the exposure. You know what I mean? But you don't get. It's tough. It's tough to get in the city. It really is. So even the promoters, I'm guilty of it. You stick with the same guys. You know what I mean?
I was going to bring that up to you next because I was going to actually ask you, would you give an open slot to a newer generation? Like there's a Genesita out there. there
Yeah,
is,
yeah. If,
you know,
they could always send us mixtapes in. Send me a sample of what you got, and there's nothing wrong with that. You know what I mean? Give somebody an opportunity. That'd be good.
because I see like you're speaking about it, and I mean I've been to your events, I see the same DJs, just like I've been to everybody else's events to see the same DJs.
Everybody's in cliques. They stick what they're saying.
Well, I agree, but I also do agree. Like that was, like I said, that was gonna be my next question. Would you open up, like, hey, I would love for a newer DJ to come in, show us your skills, send a tape or whatever, and I would love to put you on our next event.
Like the other day, I shared a video. Cynthia's practicing for some concert somewhere. It's a huge venue, like almost like a huge amphitheater or something. And in the middle of her track, she switches to reggaeton beats. I'm like, that's badass. And then she throws like a Bon Jovi a cappella on top of it. You know what I mean? And that's different. You know what I mean? It changes it up, and that's good for the crowd. You know what I mean? Because Latinos love reggaeton beats. You know what I mean? Come on, mix it up, change it up, give them something different, and it'd be nice to see that. It'd definitely be nice to see that.
Pierto says, I've been saying that we need to start bringing in the young generation in front of the DJ scene. Oh, I totally agree. Also start a college, school, or a program with a backing with the ASCAP BMI backing. Maybe that's your calling, Charlie. Some people say, You know, Rich, I'm going to give you your flowers right now. Yes, you won one battle against Mike Lagrimas because you keep putting it up there, bro. I'm going to give it to you. Your flowers. Hello. There we go. What's next for Charlie?
Yeah, Yvonne is saying to bring in a female DJ, and that's the same thing too. You know, there are good female DJs out there. You know, just give them the opportunity to spin there. I mean, the only ones that I've seen that we've used like Kid Riot. Kid Riot does a good job almost every time you have. You know what I mean?
Well, Club Romo, I mean, Gino has brought in
Jade.
Sailor Seokamp from St. Louis. She's a female
She
DJ.
was awesome.
She's younger,
I don't know if you've ever heard her.
She was young. She's
from
young.
St. Louis, and she threw down. I know a lot of people didn't appreciate
Jade,
her
right.
her set,
Right.
but she was such a phenomenal
She was
DJ.
good. Music was different and all that stuff. But so yeah, I mean, it's up to the promoter to give opportunity to the company DJs.
Yeah, that's why I'm asking. I'm like, I'd like to see it. So you guys heard it here. If you know a DJ, and if it's a female
He's looking
DJ,
for one.
he's looking for one. Charlie, where do they send their mix to?
You can inbox me, Charlie Delamore on Facebook, or find me on Instagram.
There you go. See? So put it out there, damn it. Put it out there. Put it out there to the universe.
You got to give credit to Yvonne for suggesting that.
Thank you, Yvonne. You're awesome.
Good idea.
You know, back in the day when we had Prano printing, and so much goes back to Prano. One day they decided to have a promoters meeting, and you got like 20 promoters showing up. There's one guy we never forget his name, Mickey H. I don't even remember where this guy was from. Little Porico. Walking in with a briefcase. I'm like, yeah, okay, well, I don't know what kind of meeting this guy thinks it is, but it's just what we were trying to do was get the promoters to respect each other's dates. You know what I mean? Okay, you got this date, you got this artist, we got this date, boom, boom, boom. We don't need to be cutting each other's throats. You know what I mean?
Right.
Let's just work with each other. It didn't work back then. You know what I mean? And now, it's the same thing. The way you say Latinos hurt each other more than anybody else, it's even difficult now, you know, to get them to work with one another and sit down with one another and let's at least, you know, help each other. You know, like when you're talking about a radio station that could expose and open up opportunities for other people, it's an idea about how do you get there. You know what I mean? What's the next step? You know, where do we go?
I know Star 96. Is that what it's called? It's the one that Eddie Volkman
Never heard of that one.
is a part of. I know Milana reached out to the program director there asking for, you know, her to come back on the radio and then bringing like a different perspective of bringing back old school in her proposal, and we didn't hear anything at all. But I do feel that whether you bring back old school or whether you bring it in new school, you know, at the end of the day, you've got to do something with the programming. I mean, I think if radio were to come back to the way that it used to be, people would come back to listening to those local radio stations. You know, and you're not doing syndicates because everything is syndicated now. Everything is coming from a different, you know, just different cities. You've got, you know, Soul 106 with Ricky Smiley. And then you've got, you know, Dee Dee in the Morning over at 92.3. And you've got these different people that we can use local voices and local, you know, local celebrity, make our own local celebrities instead of having everything syndicated. What would you like to see coming in the years to come with Latinos in music and DJing?
Definitely some new talent. Not taking anything away from the artists who we see all the time, but there's other freestyle artists out there. There's other people who are younger, who are coming up, and if that genre is going to survive, you need some of the younger generation to step up. Even if they mix it up, with different types of music, a little freestyle, a little reggaeton, a little house, boom, boom, boom. It could be different. It could be fusion, but it could be something we haven't heard. But it could carry it on because I was at Home Depot maybe a couple weeks ago, and there's girls working the register, the automatic checkout. They couldn't have been more than 18, 19, 20 years old. And what are they listening to? Old school house. They got their little boom box right there, and boom, boom, boom. And like, see, the music that we grew up with, they're still listening to it. From their parents, probably backyard barbecues, driving the car, boom. Okay, so it still is catching on. It's still carrying on. But we need to see younger people mixed in with our people in order to carry, keep it going.
Do you think that with newer artists, DJs have what's the proper verbiage I'm looking for? Let's just say that they should, with the wrong technical term, start helping out those local artists, those local new artists, to get them, because technically the DJs are the only ones that can really do it, since it's not really hitting radio airwaves anymore.
And you got to watch out because AI is moving so quick. AI is going to be doing these songs on its own. And pretty soon AI is going to be DJing on its own, okay? It's just moving that quick. You just see things right now that AI is doing that blows your mind, and it's early on, So.
Dondi wants to know, did CHAZ have red hair before?
Yes, there was a short period. That's when they call me Chuck Red. That's a whole nother story. We're not going to go down that rabbit hole.
What is something that people don't know about you that you wish that they did know about you?
For a while I was away from the scene, we did foster care. That was an amazing experience, helping children who were displaced because of the problems they have at home. The stories you hear, they break your heart. They really break your heart, the abuse that they've suffered. Some of them having fetal alcohol syndrome from their parents drinking while they were pregnant. Some of them being abused by their own parents, being abused by other foster parents. It's like, holy smoke. And then, it could be siblings, and they're trying to keep them together, or they split them up, and you're just like, man, what are those kids going to grow up being like? Haven't experienced that. So that was an eye-opening experience. I also coached my kids' baseball teams for 4 or 5 years, because you go to the game and you're watching them sitting on the bench, and you're like, it's only because they don't have a coach in the team. Otherwise, they'd get more playing time. So then you get involved with coaching. But then the same thing, you're dealing with. I was coaching teams that there were no dads showing up, only moms and grandmas. Nobody playing catch with these kids. Halftime they didn't have a ride, so now you're driving around in the minivan, picking all these kids up, and then afterwards taking them to get a snack or taking them back to your house for a barbecue pool party. And trying to show them something better. Because they go back to their life, and it's tough. It's tough. So between the foster care and coaching kids baseball, that was 2 experiences that you hold on to forever. I coached in Indiana and in Georgia. My youngest son now is coaching our grandson, Lincoln. Lincoln is 7 years old, and he's already on a traveling team in All-Stars. Amazing for 7 years old.
And he wants give it off to Lincoln.
Lincoln wants to be in the MLB, and we're hoping he gets there. That's his dream. I have 4 beautiful granddaughters, and they're the world to us. Every single one of them. And you enjoy every single. And I wouldn't trade any moment with them for any of this. You could keep the concert, you could keep the venue, you could keep it all. I have no desire to be there when I'm with my grandkids. My grandkids are everything. And that's just, there's priorities in life. You need to have them. And your faith, you have to walk with faith. People will always upset you. Situations will happen, like you have an accident today. People start cursing, losing their mind. But that's not it. You need to think before you speak. I saw a lady today on the corner of Chicago Avenue and Kedzie. I got a picture of it on my phone. She's sitting on the corner in 90-something degree heat with like a jacket overhead, surrounded by garbage. She's homeless. And you're like, man, count your blessings. Because like the song says, there before the grace of God go I. That could be you. Had you made the wrong choices in life, had you got hooked on drugs, had you been an alcoholic, had your family given up on you, that could be you. I had a homeless lady a few weeks ago. We're working in Chinatown, and she's living under the bridge, and she's like, hey, I'm walking back and forth between two different manholes trying to figure out how to get through and run a new fiber optic cable. She's like, can you get me cable here? I'm like, what? She's like, yeah, can you hook me up right here? Like, she wanted cable to her tent. I'm like, well, first of all, I don't run wires to, residential anymore. All I do is I work the main line. So that's a whole nother section of my life, which is during that whole time I was gone, I was working and I traveled a lot. I've been in most states in the United States. I've worked ice storms, tornado damage, hurricane damage. And when people are rushing out, fleeing from the hurricane, we're rushing in. Skies are black, tornadoes are still coming down. I had a situation, I don't know how much time we got, where we're called in and you have to be on the state line within 24 hours to be on the job. So we're right outside the border of Louisiana when Hurricane Katrina hit. Oh, that was bad.
Oh, that was bad. I was there for that one.
So we had to be in Hattiesburg, Mississippi within 24 hours. So as we're driving in, the whole state is driving out one way. It's one way out, and we're like the utility crews are the ones coming in. The hotel they stationed us at part of the roof got ripped out by a tornado the first night. They send us to our first job site, which is out in the country. Nothing but abandoned homes. There's nobody there. There's no power. Everybody's gone. And then one of the guys comes running up. It's like 5 trucks, 20 guys, 15 guys, and they're like, "Hey, you're not paying attention to the radio?" I'm like, "No, we're trying to assess the damage. What are we going to start on?" He goes, "There's a tornado on the ground headed right for us right now." I'm like, "Holy smokes. Yeah, I've dodged death so many times. So what am I going to do? I can't even see this thing." So I call my mom. She's raised 12 kids, has always prayed, never worked, and has helped raise her grandkids. And I said, "Mom, I don't know what to do. There's a tornado on the ground. I can't see this thing. It's probably wrapped in the rain. It's headed right for us." She's like, "Okay. I'm going to get all the grandkids upstairs. We're going to start praying the rosary for you right now." "All right, Mom, thanks." I'm like, "Okay, 'cause if I kick a door in here, there's not even no basements down here. They ain't going to help us."
No, everything's at ocean level.
Yes. So 20 minutes, rain's coming down, hard wind, boom, skies are black, and then it clears up. We go back to work. Don't think nothing of it. Go back to the hotel. The tornado was on the ground. At that moment, when my mom started praying, the tornado lifted up, went over us, landed in the next town. People died in the next town.
Wow.
So when I talk about the power of prayer, it's a faith that you have to have like no other. You know what I mean? When it's your time, it's your time. Mm-hmm. And you have to be okay with that. When God calls you home, he calls you home. But your faith in God needs to be above and beyond all things. God first. And you give thanks for every blessing, every single day. Whether it's the clothes on your back, the food that you eat, the roof over your head, the opportunities you have at work, you're still able to pay your bills. Physically, yeah, you may have aches and pains, but you're still able to get around. You see, we know a lot of people, all of us that have passed, are no longer with us. And some of their demise, it wasn't nice. And they may not have even had a relationship with our Lord and Savior. And you pray that at that final moment, they threw themselves on his mercy, So while everybody talks about, okay, this event, this memory, blah, 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 hey, I'll tell you what, when you're on your deathbed, you're not going to say, "I wish I would have DJ'd that One More Soul Out event. I wish I would have made it to the Chosen Few picnic." No.
Lord, why didn't you turn around and let me be a basketball wife? No. I was this close, Lord.
Appreciate every moment that you have with your loved ones, because you don't know when it's your last. You don't know, because tomorrow's not promised to anyone. Okay, all we have is today. That's why they call it the present. It's a gift. People need to understand this. I'm going to become Preacher Charlie over here pretty soon,
All right, preach, Pastor Charlie, preach all day, every day.
No, but that's another thing I do. I am part of a prayer group, and we do meet once a month. And there's lots of prayers, lots of rosaries being said, lots of intentions being shared daily for people fighting stage 4 cancer. So many different sicknesses. My older brother had a major stroke earlier this year, which he's still recovering from. One of my other friends is fighting prostate cancer. And so it's just, the suffering goes on and on and on. It never ends. You know what I mean? But the power of prayer is so strong. You know what I mean? It is so powerful.
It is.
That's what you wish that everybody's always posting. Hey, we were here Friday night. You were here Saturday night. You know, boom, boom, boom. And we went out to drink here. Went out to eat.
But you won't hear them say, I went to church.
No. Well, you know, one of my favorite churches is in Bridgeport. Oh my God, I forgot the name. I like going to the Latin Mass. Have you ever been to Latin Mass? Mm-mm. Oh my God, it's a beautiful Mass. There's so much reverence in that Mass. Even though you don't understand Latin, the devotion and the respect that they show to our Lord and to the Eucharist, it's amazing. And then you look at the way they used to build churches, the architecture. You know, it's inspiring. You know what I mean? And you feel like you are sharing in an experience that's like no other. You know what I mean? And that it's awesome. It's really, so I would like to see that, because you see guys who get sick online. I need help for this. You know, can you go fund this? Blah 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 boom. Okay, but I would have liked to seen that these guys prior to all that, you know, would have had a more faith-based life. You know what I mean? Because you have DJs that have good careers, that do have the insurance, and maybe they're not worried, but then you have other guys that don't. They didn't plan for it. They thought DJing was going to take care of them to the end, and it doesn't work that way. You know what I mean? You got to plan for tomorrow. We're all getting older. You know what I mean? So that's something, when they were doing that DJ International, what was it called? That organization they were doing where they were trying to bring all the DJs together.
Oh yeah, I wasn't there, but I know what you're talking about.
Okay, but you know what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah.
They should have done.
When Rocky had it over at Circuit, right? When he got all those DJs. Yeah, I remember.
Okay, they should have done something where they brought the DJs together to contribute on a monthly basis for the DJs who were going to suffer like this later in life, who didn't plan for tomorrow. You know what I mean? And some DJs will be, well, you know, that's their fault. That's their problem. No. But these are still human beings. You know what I mean? And it would be nice to see that they come together as an industry and help each other out.
You know what I would like to see that I don't really see is, and it's not even so much in the Latino community, but in the industry in itself, is like prayer groups. Like you said, you're a part of one.
Yep.
Like having a DJ prayer group, or an entertainment prayer group within Chicago, whether we start one or whichever. But I would like to see that. Hi, Julius. How are you today? Thank you for tuning in. I would love to see that. And and it's funny because Vero is very religious. And it's not that Pablo wasn't. I'm not bringing it up to put you on the spot, bro. I really am not. But no, I'm not. But, you know, when he met Vero is like, I go to church on Sundays. This is what it's going to be. And, you know, Pablo's like, well, I'm religious, you know, but I'm not like that. I'm going to church every single weekend. And ever since he's met her, that's what you do. I know when Mike met me, I would go to church, and then we just kind of fell off, you know. And I'm not going to lie, you know, it's just something that you tend to put in other things that you think matter in life, and then you just kind of leave off with that.
You want to get a real eye-opener, tune in to Relevant Radio at 3 o'clock p.m. when they have the Chaplet of Divine Mercy. That's the hour of great mercy when our Lord passed at 3 p.m. And when you hear people calling from all over the country with the kind of suffering that they're enduring, I was like, holy smokes, I got no reason to complain. You know what I mean? People that haven't been able to find a job for years, people who are about to lose their home, people who have stage 4 cancer. You know, it just goes on and on and on. I mean, young kids that have cancer now. You know, the world is a different place than when we grew up. You know what I mean? And that's the one thing that when you look at your grandkids, you're like, my God, you know what I mean? You want to protect them. If you could put them in a cocoon and just keep them there till they're fully grown, you would. But you're not their parents. So somebody else is going to raise them. You only get to see them X amount of time. But you wonder about the world they're going to grow up in.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Because
I agree.
We used to be, how long would they let your parents let you play outside back in the 80s? You could be out there till dark till the lights came on, right?
Not anymore.
That was the rule.
Yeah, you're just hoping that they come home. They come home from school, you know, in a safe manner. I love that you brought that in. I thank you so much. Anything you want to leave us with? October 31st. Let's start with that.
Okay, don't forget, coming up Saturday, October 31st, we have the Divas of Freestyle House at Pierre's Banquets in Berwyn, featuring the Dream Girl Cynthia, the Queen of Freestyle Judy Torres, Chicago's very own Laura, and house music legend Dajay.
And where can they get tickets?
VIP tables and tickets are available online at Eventbrite or text call 312-998-7599 to purchase by Zelle.
And now what do you want to leave us with?
Ooh, let's finish this with a prayer.
All right. That's
different.
new.
Yeah.
I like that.
That's
All
different,
right.
yeah. So whenever you're feeling like something overwhelming or an attack, it could be somebody upsetting you and you just don't want to respond in a way that you shouldn't. You need to have something that calms you down. So in any kind of a personal attack like that, we would refer to the prayer of St. Michael, which is, St. Michael the Archangel, defend us in battle. Be our protection against the wickedness and snares of the devil. May God rebuke him, we humbly pray. And do thou, O Prince of the heavenly hosts, thrust into hell Satan and all evil spirits who seek about the ruin of souls. Amen.
Amen. Thank you. I felt that. I felt that one. Well, thank you, Charlie, for being a part of, Latinos in the House and our wonderful podcast. I really did. I learned a lot about you today.
There's some good Christian house music and EDM coming out.
Yes, there is.
That stuff is good.
So
it's good.
What is it? Air One on the radio. I listen to them because it's like hip hop, R&B, kind of soul, Christian music. I love it. I got a few of them. I'm a huge Smokey Norfolk person and Isaiah Walker person for me. That's who I like listening to.
Stephanie, why was Charlie interviewed today? Why were other Latino DJs interviewed the last few weeks? Why? Why are we doing this?
We are doing this because
There you go.
coming up is our Chicago Dance Music Authority presents Latinos in the House 3rd Annual Dance Music Conference, October 3rd, 2026. Promo goes out next week. I'm so excited.
time.
I know. So you and I got to get together with that. We are so excited at 2112 Studios, 4245 North Knox. You need to be there. You need to be there. We have put these panels together. We even put a business panel together
Yeah.
with 2112. Attorneys, copyright people, video people. All of this is going to be there for you. We're also going to learn about the ladies in house music. We've got the alternative dance panel. We have the hip hop panel. And then we also have our Asian American house history panel as well. I'm really excited for this because we're bridging gaps in the generations through culture, music, and history. And I'm very, very proud to make sure that we have this because it's the only way that we keep these history stories alive.
So if you love conversations like we're having today, imagine going there live, and then you get the chance to talk to these people face to face, one-on-one. This is a great opportunity.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. And if you've never been to a Latinos in the House conference, you need to be there.
Don't count us out.
Don't count us out. Don't count us out. That was the whole reason why we do
Let me ask you
that.
guys a question. You guys always have these interviews where you sit down and talk to people. Why don't you ever have anybody do a guest mix afterwards?
Well, we had.
You do?
We ask them, and sometimes people are just like, we want to, we don't want to, and
Numo's
do you
the
have
only one,
equipment? Yeah, Numo's done one. CZR has done one. No, DJ Jess has done one.
Yeah.
Those are the only two that, because we'll ask, like especially if you want a DJ. Like I believe Psycho and M-Dot, they are the newer generation. They're the millennial generation. They asked if they could DJ, before their talk, and I said sure. Well, we've asked. We didn't ask you. I'm sorry.
No,
I don't
it's
have turntables.
No, it's okay.
I don't have because then you would have had to bring turntables. But I like that. But then too, you got Facebook who can mute anybody at any point in time too. So that's a problem in the situation. I think with DJ Jess and Numo, they had their own music, so we didn't get shut down because they played their own. So and even with CZR, he played his own. So as long as it's their music, we don't get shut down. When it's other people's music,
Forget it.
we get muted.
CZR does a really good job on his remixes.
Yeah, he does. He does a really good job.
I think back in the 80s, he was with the party crew, the Bad Examples. And that was my brother Phil and Frank were part of this. So at that time, I don't even think he was a DJ. So they knew him in the party crew. And I didn't know who CZR was until later, you know what I mean? So when you talk about who were your influences, being that like we started at such a young age, we influenced other people later. And I've heard that like from, say like Wesley the Whiz Kid. People like that to be like, Charlie, when I first had him as a guest DJ on the Raider Rock show, afterward he's like, Charlie, you have no idea how much it meant to me when we would go watch you guys spin, you and Richie, when you guys were young. You know, so he was younger than us. Gino was younger than us. Gabriel's younger than us, and so that generation would come out, and you had such a passion for what you were doing that it caught on. You know what I mean? And that's what you would like to continue to see. You know, you're influencing other people. You may not know it, but you really are. You're putting an impression on out there.
Who, if God came before us and said, "Hey guys, I'm allowing you to speak to one person that you would like to speak to again,"
That's gone.
and that's gone in this industry, who would it be?
Man, that's a tough question.
Man, Steffi.
That's a really tough question.
It is tough.
You know, of all people, I'd have to say Richie Rabolino, because he had a bad ending, and nobody talks about him. Nobody talks about Richie's nightclub.
He's done a lot. He did a lot.
Yeah, what he did was bad, but in that moment where he made that decision, and took his own life and somebody else's life, even in that moment, you can pray now, and your prayers can be attributed to that final moment of his life, because God exists out of time and space. What was 20 years ago to us could still be at this moment for him. He can decide when to apply those prayers. And some people, and I know we all know people like that, have a hard time with breakups. And he was one of those kind of guys that ever since he was young, he had trouble with breakups.
Yeah.
And he took them bad, you know, fighting with his own friends. So the fact that he did that was sad. There's no excusing what he did, but I knew him before I moved out of town and went to raise a family. The Richie I knew was the Richie I'll always remember. The Richie that did what he did was somebody else that, you know, made a really bad decision.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
I agree.
But-
Not only that, he broke his son's heart by
Yeah.
telling him, "I'll be back," and
Yeah.
those are the last words that his son will ever remember is, "I'll be back," and never came back.
Yeah, but you know, eternity. When you think about eternity and where we're going to be, what's eternity like if the people you love are not there? And what one side of that equation may feel, and I don't fault them for feeling the way they do. The other side of that equation, which Richie had children. Richie had a mom. He had a father. He had sisters. He had brothers. They're always going to love him. They're always going to miss him. And they're always going to hurt for him. And people, that is the hardest thing to do, is forgive when somebody hurts you.
Yeah.
When you see these families in court forgiving somebody who murdered one of their family members, you're like, how could they do that? I could never do that. But that's the ultimate testament of your faith, is to forgive the people that hurt you, because people are going to hurt you in this life. It happens. But you showing forgiveness allows you to grow past that. You can't carry that with you. It'll eat you up like a cancer on the inside. So forgiveness is a big, big, big thing, but it takes some people a long time to get there.
Yeah, I
You know?
agree.
It's different for everybody.
I like that you brought that up. I don't think I would have thought you would have chosen him.
Well, my memories of him are when we were young and we would practice together. His skills were insane. I mean, he was so freaking good. It just came to him naturally.
Yeah.
And so he grew up on the other side of the block from me. So he would swim in my pool, you know, with my brothers and sisters, and we would practice together, and we would do gigs together. So I knew the Richie prior to the bar. And then when his dad opened up one bar on 59th Street, he was mad at his father because his father was messing around and he was going to leave his mom. And I'm like, Rich, you know what? That's out of your control. But if you really want to pursue the music thing, you should bring your equipment to the bar and help your dad out. If you want to still be around him and have a relationship with him, because it doesn't seem like you're going to change his mind. And he did, and that turned into one building, two buildings, three buildings. That place on Thursday nights that was the spot forever. It blew up, you know. So I didn't know.
And that was another place that gave a lot of other DJs a chance too.
It did.
You know, DJs that would never really be heard. He gave a lot of other DJs opportunities through that bar. I mean, from a small little bar till his dad extended it out, you know, into a nightclub. It was something.
So when you talk about prayer for other DJs, we have DJs that have passed. I think about Baby Huey. I think about Sly. I think about Steve Sakurai. I think about Rich. And I'm like, you know what? Somebody needs to be having mass said for them. Pay to have their name said in mass, because if you were on the other side, and we have no contact with the other side, I'd like to know that somebody was praying for me, you know, at the very least. At the
This
end
is
of,
an idea.
yeah, at the end of, you know, because, and that goes back to helping each other out, whether somebody gets sick, whether somebody's in need in prayer, and if somebody's even gone, you know, pray for them still.
Somebody asked, what happened to Steve the Savage?
Oh man, that's messed up.
Yeah.
That story's not the greatest one either. You know, we had a reunion at All Stars downtown with Big Z, and Steve came in from out of town. I hadn't seen that guy in 10, 15, 20 years. He was living, I think, in Kansas City, and ended up being after the event. He took off to go party with somebody, and whatever stuff they messed with killed him. He died in the car he was with this person.
Really?
So he OD'd.
Oh, wow.
And we didn't know that till after that weekend. And I felt horrible because he came up to spin for that event, you know what I mean? So maybe that situation he had was ongoing. That was something that he was still messing with, you know?
That's sad.
That's sad. It really is sad, you know?
That is sad. Wow. Well, I learned a lot today. I don't know if everybody else did, but I mean, we learned about Jesus.
Hey.
We learned about DJ battles. We learned about back in the day. I mean, we learned a lot here today. And if you didn't take anything out of it, shame on you.
No. But if you guys think about these people, if they cross your mind, pray for them. You know, it's crazy that while these guys were on top and they were rocking the dance floor, yeah, everybody's your friend then, right?
Yeah.
But when you're gone, what about then? Or when you're sick? People don't. I'm telling you right now, people do not come visit you. These people that say they support you, and I won't even name some of these people. But when Wesley the Whiz Kid was sick, he was in a long-term care facility right down the street from my house here in Oak Lawn. I would go visit him, and I would ask him about people that should have been there to see him, that never showed up. Man, it was sad, you know. And I was just, and you remember them when they were
When they're on
spinning.
top.
Yeah, they were spinning at these venues and stuff, and they made that their life. That's all they wanted to do. And I'm like, man, I wish somebody would have gotten a hold of them while they still had time and shown them, you know, something different. That hey, it's okay to have that passion, but you know what? Don't forget about this. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You need to have this as part of your life.
Somebody asked if you knew Steve.
Oh yeah, I knew Steve. I gave him. He joined my DJ team back in the '80s, the Majestic Spinners, and I had him, Mario, Nonstop were also on my DJ team on our side back as teenagers. Yep. So, and I, of course, found out what happened for him because Oliver, one of our friends that was really close to Steve, told me the details. But yeah,
We had an event at the Centrum. It was a 3-way event. So it was Steve Sakurai, Orange Crush Mike. I think he's a cousin of one of my sister-in-laws from before, and myself. And on that event, we had 2 floors. Downstairs was New Wave. That's when Jesse and Andy and all them were coming up. I'm not sure if you were there. You may have been there. The top floor, we had Inner City booked right before they blew up. So that song Big Fun had just come out. And then I think we were going to have Fast Eddie. During the campaign of promoting that event, because we never know who's going to show up today, right? But they had a lot of talk. Inner City's music got played for the Super Bowl commercial.
Oh,
So
wow.
they skyrocketed and took on a world tour. So now they're not gonna
show up at Centrum.
they're not gonna show
They're
us
gonna
something
Central.
tomorrow. So we had to get a last minute replacement. So we got Bad Boy Bill and White Boy Mike. You know how you feel when you say White Mike? Okay, well White Boy Mike's not here anymore. He passed away a year or so ago.
I was going to ask what happened.
Yeah, no, nothing. It's not good. But he's not here either. That event was so packed, you could not move. So you're trying to walk through the crowd to get to the stage. It's like boom, boom. There's nowhere to move. It's all shoulder to shoulder. And I remember that event because some guy showed up saying, "Yeah, I'm supposed to perform here." Nobody knew who this guy was. He was like a salsa dancer, you know what I mean? Dancing like tribal gear. So it's like, go ahead, put him on. You know what I mean? People are like, who the hell is this guy? But I remember that event with Steve because Steve brought the north side and we brought the south side. And Steve brought a guy to do the sound system by the name of K9.
Yeah, somebody just mentioned, Peter just said it, K9 sound system.
To this day, we cannot forget K9 sound. It was knocking the paint chips off the ceiling in the Central. I mean, you felt it vibrating through your body on the back end of the hall. You're like, holy smoke. So the downstairs is packed with New Division and the New Wave DJs, probably upstairs is packed with all the house heads, and it was just like, holy smokes, you know, to go from one side of town, from the south side, to go to the north side and pack the heck out of the house. That's hard to do. It's not easy.
The one good thing about Centrum was that it was on a main street and it was one bus.
Yeah, Ashland.
It was the Ashland bus all the way down and the Ashland bus all the way back.
Yeah.
That's the only
I did
reason
those-
why I got to go to Centrum.
I do the events here from 86 to 87.
Yeah.
And then it kept on.
Yeah,
Hello,
it kept
you
on for
went
a
to
long
Centrum, right?
time.
You go to Centrum?
See?
What year was this? Like the 2000s?
Yeah.
So Centrum, the Centrum
Wait
stood
up.
out for a long time before
Yeah.
it went yuppie on us.
Hey, and last second, just not to forget some of the people back in the day who did stand out. Rich Martinez.
Yeah.
I spent a lot with Rich. Fernando Celedon, also from CYC. Jose Romero, also from CYC.
Jose Romero was a good DJ.
Incredible DJs. These guys were incredible, you know. And they didn't necessarily blow up. They didn't necessarily. Well, Rich did play out around, but Fernando and Jose were probably more stuck to the station. But they do guest shots, and when you hear them spin, you're like, wow, these guys are good. They're good, you know. So these are. I'm just saying, there's so many good Latino DJs. Like, holy smokes, guys.
We got to get their stories, and we're trying to do it the best that we can. Well, thanks, Charlie, for being here tonight. I did learn a lot. I learned a lot about you, and I think this was a great interview. I learned a lot about Jesus too. But I mostly learned because I got Benji near my TV, so I always think about him. And
The name of that church in Bridgeport is called St. Mary of Perpetual Help.
Okay.
So Sundays at 8 o'clock, if you ever want, or I think it's 8:30, you can look it up. They have a beautiful Latin Mass. Underneath the church, which was the basement, they remodeled the basement. It's all, you know how they have that marbleized floor? They have a cafeteria down there now.
Oh.
So, I mean, it's ginormous. You could probably fit like 500 people down there. So after church, go downstairs and enjoy the cafe. But that Mass is just, it's amazing. It's one of the most beautiful churches in Chicago.
my cousin has a habit, like every time we go out of state, we have to go to church, whether it's on a Saturday or Sunday. So we have to go visit like a big church or a basilica or something. And every time we go somewhere, she's like, we got to go to church. I got to find the church. We did it in Hawaii. We did it out in Minneapolis. So yeah,
You have
she's
no excuse. I went to go see Our Lady of Guadalupe in Mexico City. And when you see people crawling on their knees,
Yes.
you know, as penance,
even with
you know,
San Juan, they do the same thing.
yes. And these are older people, you know what I mean? And they're showing their devotion. We've been to Holy Hill in Wisconsin. I should have been there. The Rhoda Weiss House in Ohio. The Fulton Sheen Memorial here in Illinois. There's a lot of good places to go to. It's just
To get a list of that and put it out there.
It's awesome stuff. It's just awesome.
Well, thank you, Charlie, for being here today. Everybody, just, a few notes. Don't forget, this weekend's a really hot weekend on the north side and the south side. This weekend is the Taco and Tamale Fest thrown, with Carlos and House 13 and Clarence. So, as you see, I'm wearing my T-shirt. Make sure you guys go to Taco and Tamale Fest. It's also West Fest this weekend for the Northsiders. Lots of good DJs up on that one, too. And then we also got, what else?
The house run on the Sunday.
Oh, we got the house run on Sunday at Soldier Field. So if you haven't gotten your little bib yet, go ahead, register. So this way you can
What
ride that
about
5K.
Rich's event this Saturday?
Rich's event also at Hall of Fame 2.
It's Jesse B.
Jesse B's, is that Jesse B's event, right?
Hold
Jesse
on.
B's event.
Hold
Who's
on.
also actually going to be performing Friday night over at the Tacos and Tamales. Somebody get me the info for Hall of Fame 2, please. Okay, he's got it right there. He's grabbing it for me.
I like how she's doing this.
I'm like, here for me.
Rich, this should be at the top of your page.
Yes,
Rich. What in
Rich.
the world? Okay, here we go. You ready?
Okay.
Don't forget this Saturday we have the Windy City Freestyle Bash at Hall of Fame 2 in Summit, featuring Jesse B, Christina Marie, Jay Mazer, Ana, Nelson Regal, and Betsy, and Abby Cruz, formerly of TKA.
There you go.
Throwing down, you got Mickey Mixon Oliver, Rich Huerta, some guy by the name of QMM,
I don't know him.
and DJ Shadow. Tickets are available at ticketleap.com. $20 online, $25 at the door, $30 VIP tables.
There you go.
Don't miss it.
Nope. Especially when Jesse B comes in, because it's very rare he gets to come in from Florida. So I know Clarence announced that he's going to be over Friday at Tacos and Tamales, and Saturday you'll get to catch him again over at Hall of Fame 2. So make sure you guys get over there. Lots to do this weekend. Make sure you hydrate. It is hot outside. Hydrate, hydrate, hydrate. And then, of course, the Latinos in the house. We will have all that information up on our website next week.
Finally.
Finally, I know we're a little behind, but that's okay. People are we're getting everything together, so this way we can kind of breathe a little bit.
And I'm going to throw a plug. August 1st, we're having a New Wave rooftop.
Oh, that's right.
At Joy District, we have close to 400 already reserved.
Yes.
So if you want to go for free, check us out at Eventbrite. Type in New Wave Rooftop Part 2.
And if you did not go to the rooftop in June,
The first one.
oh my God, you need to go to this one. You definitely need to go. That one was so much fun. Again, hydrate. You won't walk out of there the same person that you came in. I promise you that. But it is a good time.
I know, I did it.
Who's DJing this one?
This one's going to be DJ Diablo, Julius Oliver, Scary Lady Sarah
Ooh.
from Metro, and then this other dude called Pablo.
Oh,
Punk Out.
that dude, Punk Out, yeah, something like that. And then who? Who?
AOC.
Oh, the AOC,
AOC.
picnic
Oh,
this
the
weekend.
AOC picnic is this Saturday. I don't know. He was doing the YMCA. He started dancing like Donald Trump. I was like, what the hell are you doing?
AOC.
AOC picnic is this weekend. All of the AOC DJs, George Castro, Smooth Smoking Sam,
Adam-
DJ Voodoo,
Adam Jazz
Master Rock, Mr. T. Who else? DJ J-Mo. Who else am I missing? Felix V is a part of AOC
nice.
now.
He's a good DJ.
And then they got a couple of guest DJs as well. That'll be held at the Buffalo Woods Grove 2 in Hickory Hills. Starts at 11 a.m., ends at 7 p.m. And then, am I missing anything else?
That's enough for now.
I think that's enough for now. Híjole, way. So,
I think we went over the time.
yeah, I think so.
Yeah, just a
So
little bit.
thank you everybody for joining us. Thank you, Charlie Chaz D, for being here. I appreciate you, man. Thank you so much for all your history. And you guys, we will see you next week. Frankie V is in the house from the original V5 and also Vertigo Marketing. And he's also throwing that Joy District party, that rooftop with Pablo and all the rest of them. So join us then. And then the week after, we got Delirious Danny in the house. Go
AKA
figure.
Now known as D Square.
Yes, and on August 12th, I am hitting the Millennium Generation. You make sure you put everything out there. Psycho and M-Doc will be here. So if you don't know them, they are the ones who throw the penny whistle parties over in Pilsen.
Wow.
They also got their own, pretty much their own tracks and everything else. That's going to be fun to talk to them.
Rumor has it that an iconic Hot Mix 5 member will be here soon.
Soon. We're praying on that one. So, thank you for joining us. Have a great night. Have a great weekend. Hope to see you at some of these events that are going on this weekend, and we will talk to you next week, 7:30, same station,
Buenos
same
nachos.
letter.
Peace.
Adios.
It's time to chat and speak the truth. We will talk with DJs, producers, artists, and dance groups. Our Latino contribution.